Two wins from the first two at the start of the season saw Wakefield Trinity Wildcats join top of the table. But their decline has been alarming since, and if Wigan win here tonight, it'll be the Wildcats' worst losing run in almost 4 years. They're cast adrift at the foot of the table, 4 points behind next to bottom Hull. Unless there's a major improvement soon, Wakefield will be fighting for their 17 season-long Super League lives come the middle eights in August and September. And there'll be at least 4 championship clubs after their blood. On the other hand, Wigan will go second above St Helens with the victory, but they all have some leeway to make up on the Leeds Rhinos, who are 6 points clear of the field. The fixture list looks like this for the rest of Super League's round 12. Hull Huddersfield, Leeds Warrington, the match of the round, and Saints Widnes tomorrow at 8. On Saturday, Catalan Dragons entertain Hull KR in Perpignan, and Sunday, Salford and Castleford takes us beyond the halfway stage of the first 23 weekly rounds. Well, let's take a look at the way the teams here and how they will line up. And Wakefield first, they've made a few changes. They've got a few coming back at last. Craig Hall is the fullback, then it's Richard Owen, Matt Ryan, Reece Lynn, one of the comeback kids, Chris Riley, Peter Godinay plays alongside Tim Smith. The forwards for Wakefield, Nick Scruton, Paul McShane, Ben Kavanagh, who's on his debut on loan from the Widnes Vikings. Danny Washbrook, Danny Kermon, the skipper, and Jordan Crowther makes his first start for the Wildcats at loose forward. And the bench tonight for Wakefield occupied by Ali Lauatiti, Mikel Simon, the French international, Daniel Smith and Ian Kirk, and the coach is James Webster. Now for Wigan, and unchanged from the great win against Warrington last week, which means Ryan Hampshire is keeping Matty Bowen out of the side at full-back. Then it's Dom Manfredi, Anthony Gelling, Dan Sargentson, Joe Burgess, George Williams and Matty Smith. Up front for Wigan, they've got Dom Crosby, Michael McAlorum, who will captain the side, Lee Mossop, Joel Tompkins, Liam Farrell and John Bateman. And there is actually one change on the bench, where number 16, Sam Powell, comes in for Logan Tompkins. Otherwise, Ben Flower, Tony Clubb and Taluma Tautai, ex-Wakefield of course, on his first visit back to Bellevue since leaving last winter. They are the same substitutes for the coach, Sean Wayne. Well, it really does, doesn't it, look like an odds-on away victory here tonight for the Wigan Warriors against the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. But cast your mind back to 2014. Wigan arrived here then and they were top of the table, and Wakefield sent them home with their tails well and truly between their legs. The result on that occasion, a 36-28 victory for the Wildcats. Could it possibly happen again in 2015? Well, let's get the first thoughts from Brian and John, who are waiting for us at the touchscreen. And fellas, as a very proud Englishman, can I say to you both, happy St George's Day.
Well, mine was March 17th, but happy St George's Day to you, John. Happy St George's Day to you too, Eddie. We're going to talk about a team now tonight, Eddie. They're going to have to summon up the valour of a knight in shining armour to have a victory here tonight and repeat that result that you quoted from last year's, the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Last time out in Super League, they were beaten 80 points to 0 by the Warrington Wolves. Conceded 14 tries, John, missed 41 tackles. You've gone back and had a look at that game. You're not quite going to make a case for Wakefield winning this game, but you're going to show us what they need to do if they're going to have a chance. What is it?
Yeah, far from it. Well, I think the first thing to say is that they say you learn a lot more from defeat than you do from victory. And judging by Wakefield's recent run of performances and results, they should have learned a lot. They started absolutely appallingly in round 10 against the Wolves. The footage I'm going to show you is from the kickoff. So this is the first reception. Wakefield kickoff to Warrington. This is the first reception. Now, they lost 17 of the first 24 tackles that they made in defence, or 70%.
Lost isn't necessarily missing, is that correct?
No, not a clean miss in terms of collision. So here you go, here's Ben Westwood, good example, pulls through 2 or 3 different players. Probably a better example coming up for you just now.
Okay. Talk us why this play is so particular, because you pulled out this bit of footage. You wanted to show this as a real danger sign for the Warrington Wolves, or for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Why?
Well, you've just got to look at what's happening around the Warrington Wolves. This is tackle 4, first set of 6. Nothing really doing in the background, no play set up. Gene Ormsby's coming off the left wing, more than anything else, just to get a touch, an early touch. Yes, a contribution forward for his team. But just look at the effect that he has, with very little footwork going to the line, pulls straight through, and he's able to get a very, very easy offload away. That's just simply not good enough. In terms of the way that you front up as a team, as a set of individuals collectively, that's just not good enough, and it set the tone for the rest of the game.
Okay, so we're not taking anything away from moments we play, it's just that a lot more will be thrown at you by sides than that.
Exactly, and another example here, you've got Joel Monaghan's come out, nothing really doing. Look at the players behind him, nothing on at all. This is just a straight run, again, simple bit of footwork, gets himself, and look at the drive after contact. Now in all of these tackles, there's a common theme. Wakefield are neglecting the legs. Yes, you need good initial hit upstairs, but then no one goes for legs. They're all wrestling up the top. Again, prime example there, as we see. And they're giving away far too much territory, far too much momentum, and inviting the Wolves in. It's far too easy. It must have been terrible for James Webster to watch, because I'm sure they don't train like that. They don't intend to start matches like this. Again, this, set 3. Now, they scored at the end of set 4. They scored on the 24th tackle. They lost the collision, as I said, on 17 out of the first 24 attempted tackles, and it culminated in this, on the 24th tackle in defence, the first try for the Warrington Wolves, from which they never looked back, to Gene Ormsby.
Okay, a facile 80-0 victory for the Warrington Wolves. Their next outing was in front of the Sky Sports cameras last round out against the Wigan Warriors. The Wigan Warriors beat them 30-20 and were very impressive on how they shifted the ball around. So Wakefield Trinity Wildcats weren't able to solve some simple plays from Warrington. They're going to have a lot more complex and a lot plays and a lot more movement thrown at them tonight, John.
And this, the clip I'm going to show you, there's a lot to take out of this, so bear with us. Ostensibly, midfield play or slightly longer right-hand edge. Wigan, and this is something they've added to their play this year, they challenge Warrington on their left edge, and then on the very next play on their right edge. The ball starts here, the next play the ball is going to end up around this area. So they make 10 metres in the meantime, but it's what they do to everybody else in between. So just to show you what they actually physically do, this is no surprise, this is very common, this is very familiar, we know what this looks like. But if I take you back to the start again, we show it again.
Okay, Toby King ended up making the tackle, but you said the defensive line was put out. Show us exactly who's involved in that, without actually making a tackle.
So every single contact, every single defender, so in this case, Asatazi, I'll just stop it for the first one, and then I'll run on the rest. So Asatazi and Hill are forced to make a defensive read on John Bateman. And you keep your eye on the defensive line, because then Hill moves off, and then it's the turn of Ben Curry.
Yeah.
Now, Ben Curry, he's forced to make a defensive read and sit in on George Williams. He gets tied in by Joel Tompkins. And again, Patton and King, they're both forced to make defensive reads, as is Gene Ormsby on the outside. They've involved Wigan in that one play, every single one of that Warrington defensive line, bar the 2 or 3 on the short side, who are going to get done now. And this is the key. They are able to go shot for shot. Now, if Wakefield are struggling defending against straight-up plays out of dummy half, God only knows how they're going to do against a creative attacking play like this. And the one key man for me, and he's not exploded into life as a number 6, so this is him attacking the other edge. But this man with the ball now, George Williams, is showing increasing evidence of why Sean Wayne shows so much faith in him. He's a quality player, and he plays what's in front of him, what I would call a natural rugby league player. Wakefield have got an awful lot of work to do, and you'll see a quotes package coming up shortly from James Webster, saying they've stripped that right back to the basics this week. They're talking about the basics of defence. They're going to have to be some massive improvements if they're going to contain Wigan today.
In Wigan, they're up against the side who has scored the second most tries in Super League. Will we see a try fest tonight from the Wigan Warriors, Eddie? Will we see the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, as John says, strip it back to basics and defend like their lives depended on it? We'll soon see.
Yeah, we will see. Thank you very much, fellas. I'm going to send you straight across now to Bill Arthur, because we all know the trials and tribulations that Wakefield have had on the field in 2015. But, Bill, I think I'm right in saying that right now they've got a few problems off it as well.
That's right, Eddie. There always seems to be a crisis of some sort to deal with at this club. And as if they haven't got enough problems on the pitch, there are continuing problems going on here for the Wildcats, because it turns out that their hopes for a new stadium on the outskirts of the city have just about collapsed. That is the word. There was a public meeting here at this old Bellevue Stadium last night. Several hundred fans attended it, apparently, and they heard the news that the plans are not progressing. The club is at odds with the developer and the local authority, and it really does seem as though this project for a new 12,000 capacity stadium, as I say, on the outskirts of the city, are dead in the water. The chairman, Michael Carter, is extremely frustrated by what's going on. There's talk of a legal challenge. There was money pledged at this forum last night to help fund that legal challenge. And Mr. Carter has also said there is the prospect of the Wildcats having to take their games away from Wakefield and play them outside the city boundaries. He's hoping it doesn't come to that, but the alternative is developing this tired old ground. But the longer this saga goes on, and it's been going on since I think around 2009, then the more tired and dilapidated this old Bellevue ground becomes. Mind you, this club has a habit of taking on challenges and taking on calamities, if you like, and standing up to them and coming out the other side, as they did back in 2009, in actual fact, when one of their young academy players, Leon Walker, died suddenly during an academy match in South Wales. An absolutely shocking occasion for the club, for Leon's family. And in fact, one of his former junior teammates back in the day, Craig Rogers, has off his own bat organised a charity day which will be held to raise money in memory of Leon Walker, to raise money for the British Heart Foundation and the Welsh Air Ambulance. That is happening at the Arthur Miller Stadium, home of the famous Stanley Club in Leeds, on May the 23rd. It is next month. A big day, all organised by Craig, off his own bat, in memory of Leon Walker. They always do that at this club. If they haven't got a ground, if they haven't got a great future, they have got great spirit, you know.
Yes, they have tremendous community spirit here in this city for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. But where they go as far as the ground is concerned, obviously it is open to much conjecture. I've got Phil Clark standing alongside me here in the in-goal area as the Wigan Warriors players warm up behind us. Phil, when you look back on the Super League fixture list recently, the last time Wakefield took to the Super League pitch was against Warrington. They lost 80 points to 0. They've got to start tonight a little bit quicker against this lot. They've got to start well.
Yes, I mean, surely their confidence must have been shattered after that occasion, and in fact they really do have to start this game well. They're the only side in Super League to have not scored a try in the opening 10 minutes of any of the games they've played so far this season. John Wells touched on the defence needing to improve to start matches. Well, equally so does their attack. That is a big important, because being in the game early, and particularly at half-time, is becoming even more significant now with the Super League season. If we take a look at the fixtures played so far this season, we can see here, of the 65 matches, on only 11 games have the team who were behind at half-time come back to win the game. In fact, more recently, in the last 6 rounds, of course, a couple of sides were missing with the cup games, only once in 34 matches have the team who've been behind when the half-time hooter sounded come back in the second half and gone on to win. Now, Wakefield have managed to do it once this season, but I don't know whether that's possible here tonight. The chance as well, and the importance of starting the game, is because of Wigan's record. If we take a look here, Wakefield's best chance of victory here tonight surely comes from a strong first 40 minutes. You know, Wigan, in away games since the start of 2012, have been behind in 15 matches. They've lost 12 of them. That has to be every motivation here. I know this is an 80-minute game, but Wakefield need to approach the first 40 as though the significance is the 2 points. It's their best chance to get to that break point. And we've been here before, you know. I'm not saying if Wakefield aren't ahead, they can't win the game. Last season, when they were full of confidence, they managed to beat the lead side in the last couple of minutes when Richard Owen slid over. But that was a different team almost in terms of the confidence and the attitude they had. I can only imagine it must take a massive rebuilding job for James Webster and the senior players in that side. When you lose by 80 points to 0, your pride is dented, but you get a great chance here now to put it right and show that that was a one-off. And the Wildcats are a better team. When we last came here, they gave St Helens a really good fight for the money. They lost narrowly in the end, but they were competitive. And I suspect we'll see that again tonight.
Yeah, they were competitive in the first 2 games of the season as well, weren't they? More than competitive. They beat Castleford. They beat Hull Kingston Rovers. Everyone was saying, is this the year that Wakefield are going to escape this great drop out of the Super League and into the middle eights? But it's just gone horribly wrong for them. for them, hasn't it? Why does a team start as well as that in the first two and then fall off the perch? Is it injuries? Is it dropping confidence? What is it?
Well, I think probably they overperformed, didn't they, for those first couple of matches? Because in reality, if you look at the resources of most of the sides, Wakefield probably will finish at the bottom. They've got a smaller squad, they've got less facilities, and their chances of success are rather limited. But they're a much stronger side tonight, and I think they have a point to prove. They also have a player playing tonight for them, Ben Kavanagh, who, like several other Wildcats, has a point to prove. Now, I think that's a great motivation for any rugby league player. When maybe he's been told he left Wigan earlier in his career, he's now been released by Widnes on loan until the end of this season. If ever a player has a point to prove, it's here tonight at a new club, in new circumstances, but still at the age where he's got potential to bounce back to the top.
The big problem for them, of course, is they're facing a Wigan side looking as though they're red hot. They were magnificent against Warrington last week.
They were. I mean, some of the tries they're scoring are sensational, aren't they? Their outside backs are getting lots of the ball. In fact, Wigan centres get about twice as much ball as players who play in that position for the sides, and the wingers are in great form. I mean, Dominic Manfredi, he just looks sensational on the right wing. It's amazing to think he's replaced an England winger, Josh Charnley, and he hasn't even been missed, has he? Some of his form's been good, and in fact, hat-tricks in his last two games is a phenomenal achievement, whatever level of rugby league you're playing at. In fact, the last Wigan player to do it was Sam Tompkins, and you saw how his career developed from there. So Wigan's outside backs have been very successful, and I think that Wakefield will be tested, the defence, across the full width of the pitch.
Well, Sean Wayne, we saw him just before the shots there of the Wigan players warming up. He will be hoping that there isn't a banana skin waiting for them on here. I mean, you cannot see anything other than a Wigan win, can you? Or do you see Wakefield doing something here?
Well, I'm not sure, but we've been coming here now for 15 years, and every one of those 15 years, Wakefield have been tipped to finish at the bottom. Somehow they've managed to avoid it. They might not escape that this season, but invariably, they give us a competitive effort when we play here, and I think we'll see that again tonight.
OK, well, I think what we're saying is it's a big night for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats cause. It also is a very big night, of course, for James Webster. As we say, last time they played in Super League, they were beaten by 80 points to 0 by the Warrington Wolves, bottom of the table. But as far as they are concerned, without a win from round two, well, the fight still goes on.
There's a battle going on here, and we're all up for that battle. We're not going to run away from the fact that things, you know, are challenging here. We've taken a lot of pain over the last 6 to 8 games, but we're learning from it. There's some people who are 17 and 18 getting a run with the league structure. Probably results for us at the moment isn't as important, but for us to improve and to try hard and to get ourselves in a situation come the back end of the year, whatever division we're in a really good spot. The amount of support I've got from other coaches this year has been fantastic. They've gone out of their way to offer me some support, and you know, it's helped at times. It's a time-consuming job. The team that won against Holcow, I think we had 4 people playing in the position that they played in round 2. But you know, that's good, that's a challenge. It's not ideal. Obviously every single team would like to go in every single week with what they consider their best players. But it's, you know, it's been given us as a test, I think, this year, and I think it's going to help us. You know, it's going to hurt at the moment. It does hurt. I'm sure plenty of supporters are hurting. But in the end, I think it's going to prepare us well for the back end of the year. I think our ball control has been poor this year, and we're making probably 50, 60, 100 tackles in some games more than opposition. So our ball retention against Wigan is going to be important. We've stripped it back over the last probably 10 days, and we've gone back to basics. We haven't spent really any time on our offence, mainly on our defence. You could say going back to how you start defending as a kid. We're probably not looking so much for the result. We're hoping more for a performance in that we can improve and keep adding to it every single week. We know that, you know, in a lot of areas we're going to be a little bit outmatched. They're all a threat. Big, powerful, fast side. You know, I could name 17. You could probably name 25. You know, people like Matt Bowen can't even get in their team. So, you know, the physicality is an issue for us against them. Are we able to physically match them, not only in the middle, but all over the pitch? We go in there, you know, confident that we can play well. And that's what we're concentrating on. We're concentrating on ourselves. We understand they are a good team, full of good players, but you know, we give ourselves a chance in any game we play.
It's been a baptism of coaching fire for James Webster since he took over the Wildcats in June last year. Their 80-0 drubbing at Warrington 2 weeks ago, probably his lowest ebb.
All our focus obviously now for us as a club needs to move forward and try and be as positive as we can for Halifax.
Yes, he targeted the cup tie against Halifax as a must-win game, massive in terms of the future of the club, and his men delivered. And while they have the likes of former Wigan halfback Tim Smith pulling the strings, they'll always have a chance. But they're 4 points adrift at the foot of the table, so the late summer eights is now the #1 target.
Our focus will be round 23 and onwards. Our hand through fourth and a lot of things we've had to do this year. Our goal this year is to stay up.
Well, Wigan had bigger fish to fry, and against Warrington last Thursday they produced a great performance. Sam Tonkin's return was announced at half-time.
You can't miss the opportunity to bring a player like Sam Tompkins back to Super League.
And on the field, Don Manfredi gave us a hint of the future. A hat-trick of tries for the second week in a row. Wigan win here, and they'll go second in the table. Well, 12 months ago, Wigan arrived here as league leaders, and they were sent packing, beaten by Wakefield 36 points to 28. Could lightning strike twice? Wakefield at the bottom of the table in 2015 will hope so. If they lose, it'll be their worst run of results in nearly 4 years. Let's confirm those team lineups for you. Wakefield beat Halifax in the Cup last weekend for their first victory since February. Despite that, there are changes to the 17. Rhys Lynn returns to the centres for the first time in 6 matches, and the Samoan international Peter Godinay makes his first start of the season. In the forwards, Ben Kavanagh is on loan for the rest of the season from Widnes. This is his Wakefield debut. And at loose forward, Jordan Crowder makes his first start of the season too. And on the bench, a former Leeds Rhino, Ian Kirk, made his long-awaited debut against Halifax. He came on as a substitute to score 2 tries. Well, Wigan, unsurprisingly, are unchanged at the start from arguably their best performance of the year against Warrington last week. They might be missing Josh Charnley, but Dom Manfredi made it successive hat-tricks in that win. And Joe Burgess on the other flank is in fine form too. 4 tries in his last 4. Hooker Michael McAlorum was taken off with slight concussion against Warrington. He's passed all the tests this week, though. He's fit to resume. And there's just a 1 change on the bench, where Sam Powell comes in for Logan Tompkins. Tulima Tautai left Wakefield for Wigan at the end of last season. This then is his first return. Well, the Wildcats, they haven't won at Super League level for 2 months now, since they beat Hull Kingston Rovers here by 44 points to 24. Then they boasted a 100% record after the first 2 rounds. But 5 defeats in a row away from home followed, 3 straight defeats here. They have tumbled down the table. They're bottom 4 points adrift of the rest. Wigan aiming for a Super League home and away double against Wakefield for the 5th time in 6 seasons. Comprehensive winners, 52-10 at the DW Stadium in March. It was an important win for Wigan because they had lost 4 of their previous 5. Josh Charnley is in the crowd tonight, the Wigan and England international winger. And how well has Dom Manfredi fitted into his shoes? 9 tries from Manfredi in the last 5 games, hat-tricks in the last 2. Well, it's a perfect spring evening, absolutely glorious, wonderful pitch. And Steve-O, well, Wakefield, it's mission impossible for them, isn't it? But can they do it?
Well, they did it last year, and I suppose that they were looking back on that the coach, James Webster, made it quite clear. Physicality is the key, and they know it. They know in the opening 15 minutes they have got to really get into the faces of this Wigan outfit, try to upset them. Remember, Wigan went at the top of the table when they came here last year, and they went home defeated. But you'd have to say that the combination, you've already mentioned Dom Manfredi, Eddie, but the combination with his centre, Anthony Gellin, has been nothing short of outstanding. And quite frankly, quite a lot of the Wigan fans who have come over the Pennines here tonight, they're hoping that Manfredi can do it 3 games on a trot. Hat-trick time.
Yes, 3 tries, hat-tricks in his last 2 matches for Dom Manfredi. It is a massive task that awaits the Wakefield Wildcats tonight. And as I say, if they lose here this evening, it'll be their worst losing run in almost 4 years. Coach James Webster insists his team can repeat last year's home win against Wigan. They won by 36 points to 28. But, well, we'll just have to wait and see. And they find Wigan in great form, of course.
Yeah, it'll be difficult for them. And as I say, they've really got to muscle up, be strong, try to upset the rhythm. And over the past couple of weeks, Wigan really have hit the high spots. The combination with the forward setting the platform, and the way that Matty Smith and George Williams is combining the 2 halfbacks really are taking Super League by storm this year. It won't be easy, but you never know in rugby league. But it's got to be hard from Wakefield. They've got to really muscle up and really give it to the opposition tonight.
One thing I do know, Mike, is that I don't think you can get better conditions for a game of rugby league than what we have here tonight. The temperature is perfect, the earth feels great, the pitch is in fantastic condition. And I'm not a weather officer, Eddie, you're going to come in on me on that one. But, you know, this is, for both of these sets of players, as they've prepared all week, to come to a situation, the climate, the ground, it's brilliant. I just can't wait to see this ball fizzing around the pitch.
Yes, it is a beautiful spring evening, and the pitch at Wakefield always in the very best of conditions. They might, as Bill was reporting before the game started, they might have their problems about relocating to a new ground. But this pitch, well, if they could parcel it up and take them with them wherever they're going, I'm sure they would.
Yeah, it's always been a treat, and I suppose in many ways, Phil, you're absolutely correct that it's perfect condition, but I reckon James Webster would have perhaps liked it to have been an absolute thunderstorm just before the game to slow things down.
Ryan Hampshire gets us underway then. The ball bounces a few times before it reaches the skipper, Danny Kermond, and immediately he is tackled by 3 Wigan chasers. It only went 22, 23 metres into Wakefield territory, so that's where they are starting this opening set of 6 of this first Utility Super League match. Wakefield Wildcats against Wigan Warriors, and there is an early touch, and he'll be delighted about that. Jordan Crowther, 18 years of age. He has missed the last 4. It's his first start, this, of 2015, and here's a break, and he's got Craig Hall. What a start this is going to be for Hall and Wakefield. They're over for the first try. Unbelievable start. The pass from Matty Ryan was perfect. Craig Hall, well, he can score points and has done wherever he has played this game. And if James Webster went to bed last night and said a few prayers and asked for a good start, he's just got it. That's the perfect start for Wakefield. Craig Hall with his 3rd try of the season.
Tremendous stuff. They twisted it through, and you can see there that the centre, Ryan back on the inside. Wonderful support play by Craig Hall. They caught them napping. I was just about to say that the one thing that Wakefield perhaps want to do is just get through the basics. They didn't. They tested their arm very, very quickly indeed. We thought that the Gellin opposite Matt Ryan contest tonight would be one-way traffic. I'm afraid it's opened with a shock.
Craig Hall, what a start he has given the Wildcats here, and it's going to be his task to try and kick the goal. He got a try and 6 goals in the cup win against Halifax last week. He's scored points wherever he has been. Well, that's the start that not too many people would have predicted.
No, and quite a few of the Wigan fans who have come over the Pennines, they're a little bit shell-shocked. And if you look at the faces of the Wigan outfit, they're there in the in-goal area, and they can't believe it. And quite frankly, most of the Wakefield fans can't believe it either.
And Craig Hall has kicked the goal. He's added the extras. Wakefield lead by 6 points to 0. Brian, the glorious uncertainty of the Super League.
Steve-O's right. There will have been a little bit of a talk underneath the post between Matty Smith and Anthony Gelling as you see Matty Ryan slice through and find Craig Hall on the inside. Matty Smith went on the outside to try and pick up Peter Godinet, assuming he was going to get the ball. But Matty Ryan run a wonderful line on the outside of Gelling and caught Matty Smith out badly. They'll need to fix that up on the right-hand side for Wigan. We're expecting them to be a big attacking threat tonight, Eddie. Defensively, they caught out within 39 seconds.
Well, that was a much deeper kick-off that time from the restart by Ryan Hampshire. I think he maybe scuffed the opening kick-off, and that's why Wakefield were able to attack from just about 20 metres inside their own half. But the tries have to be scored. It doesn't matter where you get the possession. You have to get up the other end of the field and you have to score the tries. And that's what they've done. Jordan Crowther here again for Wakefield. McShane was the dummy half. And this now is the big prop forward, Nick Scruton. He played for England 7 times, 2004 to 2006 for Scruton. Tim Smith with a deep kick into the corner. He'll be relishing this evening, will Tim Smith, a former Wigan Warriors star, of course. Hampshire running it back, and how's that for a tackle by Paul McShane? The early signs here in the opening 3 minutes. Wakefield are up for the biggest challenge of their season so far.
Well, we said they needed to be physical, and they certainly was on that occasion. Paul McShane, bang, gave the full-back nowhere to move. It was a talented kick as well by Tim Smith. You're right, Eddie. He's got to be the key factor now for Wakefield tonight. If his kicking game is on, and let's face it, taking nothing away from Craig Hall with that try, you've got to say that Wigan were a little bit slack on that first and second marker. They allowed that overlap.
Well, it's a wonderful confidence booster for Wakefield, and so will that be. A great challenge there on Joel Tompkins, and the kick is out on the full. This has not started, according to Sean Wayne's script.
No, it's not as though it's, shall we say, a stranger putting the kick in, but that's not a very good one from Anthony Gelling.
You know, it's sometimes difficult to get yourselves up to play against a team at the bottom of the league, especially one that's just lost by 80 points in the last game, and in the last 5 games haven't been competitive. It's not that long ago that Wigan entertained Wakefield on their own ground, put 50 points past them, and there's perhaps a subconscious complacency that could creep in here to a team here playing. Last week they had a massive atmosphere, big game against Warrington. To get back up for that here in different circumstances is a little bit difficult, as it's proving at present.
I don't know whether Sean Wayne gives his players Dramamine as they leave the DW Stadium for their travels to West Yorkshire, but they haven't won in this part of the world for 2 years. And here is Rhys Lynn stepping through the challenges down the right-hand side.
Yeah,
grounded in the end.
Nice sidestep as well by the centre.
Here's Tim Smith once again taking control. Gives the ball to Ben Kavanagh. He takes on Crosby. And Bateman comes in there. So too does Lee Mossop. Down he goes 3-4 metres maybe away from the line. This is the last tackle coming up. McShane. McShane going on his own, McShane. And he's held up right on the Wigan goal line. That's the turnover. Not a bad place to turn the ball over, to be fair.
Yeah, good work by the hooker. Realised that there was an opportunity. As I say, the first, second markers need shaking up by Sean Wayne, the Wigan coach. And this is a very, very good start. You talk about building the confidence, you know, that there'll still be sort of remnants going through your brain in regards to that thrashing that they had against Warrington.
And they will want to prove to people, particularly the television audience tonight, as well as their own supporters who have turned out here at Bellevue this evening, that they are not as bad a side as that 80-0 scoreline suggested. Here is Bateman, finds Matty Smith, quick hands from Hampshire, quicker hands then from Gelling.
Did well to get that ball away, Gelling, but he was put under a lot of pressure.
Manfredi does well as well. He gets it away to McIlorum. Here's Joel Tompkins now, but Wakefield are harassing and frustrating Wigan and trying to make progress forward. McIlorum goes down the right-hand side with Hampshire. Hampshire slips the pass, and that's a knock-on, but I think they'll get the penalty for a man tackled, Anthony Gelling, without the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, Matty Ryan
just couldn't leave him away. See, he just pulled there, Gelling, pulled back. Well spotted as well by Robert Hicks.
Yeah, it was Chris Riley just pulled him back just as he was going for the ball there.
Yes, tackle without the ball, so penalty to Wigan, and they'll be grateful for this because they weren't making much progress, but they get some cheap meters forward now. Joel Tompkins plays the ball to McShane, Mossop, Crosby, good hands, Williams.
I'm not so sure that offload was there for the standoff. He was hoping to be utilised as a dummy runner.
McAlorum again, and that looked a touch forward to Lee Mossop, but Robert Hicks, the referee, was on hand to make the decision. And here is Crosby. Crosby powers his way over and rolls the ball over the line, grounds it safely. Try Wigan on the board. They got the wake-up call in the opening minute, and they've suddenly realised that the alarm bells were sounding. Crosby goes over for a try. What's more, that is his first try for 2 years. How timely for Tom Crosby.
Well, it all came about. It looked as though they were going to mistake, but you can see there that Riley's pullback Gelling was always going to be a penalty, put them in a position, and this is a soft try. They had the numbers there, but it was too tightly packed to the play the ball area, and the sheer strength of Crosby just twists and rolls over.
Well, the last try he scored was a famous one in Wigan colours. It was on Good Friday of 2013, 2 years ago, and it was against St Helens in a 28-16 victory. So he's waited a long time for that, and Wigan had waited 7 minutes for that here tonight after going behind, and this kick from Matty Smith should level the scores at 6 points apiece. And 6-all it is.
Well, the spotlight will probably go on Nick Scruton in this occasion. He had eyes for Michael McAlorum and Michael McAlorum only. Neglected to look out to his right-hand side where Dom Crosby was lining up to run onto the ball. He's looking at McAlorum, and at the very last minute changes, and Tim Smith is unable to come in and assist him. All Nick Scruton needed to do is be a little bit more aware of what was directly in front of him and not focus so much on the play of the ball.
Well, they hold their arms up in celebration, Wigan, and it's celebration and relief combined, I think, after that try in the opening 40 seconds of this match. The most unbelievable start, but Wigan will hope that normal service is being resumed here. We shall see. Mossop drives the ball forward. Enthusiasm, though, on show for the men in white for Wakefield.
Well, we knew we were going to get that. Coach James Webster made it quite clear that they'd put in a good show, but you'll be disappointed with the pulling back there of Anthony Gelling, allowed Wigan to get in that good position. You can't afford to do that. Wakefield have got to go through the basics, and that means a very difficult task. No missed tackles, no knock-ons, no offsides, no penalties to the opposition. It's not easy.
And here comes Tompkins again for Wigan. Good hands on show. Godinez, the tackler, and Matty Smith will hoist a crossfield bomb here. And underneath it, Richard Owen. Richard Owens pulls it out of the air easily enough. And Rees
Wakefield player decided to come out of the line and apply the pressure. They've got to do that. Got to make sure that he's under pressure, Matty Smith.
Well, Jordan Crowther has seen plenty of the ball in the opening 10.5 minutes. He's no shrinking violet, there's no doubt about that. On this his first start, the teenager. He's been involved in quite a few of the Wakefield moves. Craig Hall will put boot to ball and try and relieve the pressure, which he does, but only into the arms of Burgess.
And a rather worrying 60 seconds there for Wakefield. Early in the match, isn't it? They were contained within their own 20-25 metre zone. Wigan almost on the halfway line, and it looks like the guys playing in the black shirts are just playing a little bit quicker at the moment in the match than the ones in the white.
That's the tackle on Manfredi, right on the halfway line. 2 tackles gone for Wigan. Bit of movement forward there by Manfredi, which didn't please the Wakefield supporters. Gelling takes it forward again. And I must say, being down at pitch side with Phil Clark before the match, you don't realise till you get close up to these fellas just how big they are. Gelling is a mountain of a man, he really is. There's not a scrap of fat on him, but boy, he's tall and he's powerful.
You've got to be powerful in this game, Eddie. It's not a game for softies, that's for sure. And I agree with Phil. It's about that Wigan now. They're gaining in confidence. They're getting over the advantage line.
Good offload by Bateman. Here is Crosby. Gets it away to Matty Smith. Now it's Joel Tompkins. They go wide to Manfredi. Oh, good play. He gets the ball back to Gelling. Gelling then keeps it going to Hampshire. They're keeping this ball alive. Crosby goes down, tackled by McShane. We're at the last tackle here for Wigan. McIlorum back to Smith. Will the kick come crossfield? It does. Looking for Burgess. Only finding Richard Owen.
Great take. Great take under pressure. Steve, you said they need to do all the little things right, Wakefield, and you're absolutely right. They cannot afford to drop a ball. They cannot afford to get out-jumped on occasions like that. This is a huge play. It might look like a simple play, but it's a very important play, especially with a winger like Joe Burgess bearing down top of the ball.
And on top of that, Brian, you've got to take into account that was the second occasion that Matty Smith had all the time in the world. Whether it's a ploy, I don't know, but really, you've got to put the kicker under a lot of pressure. They're failing to do that.
Riley goes down 4 tackles on his own 20-metre line. Not making much progress forward here, Wakefield. And they've been trapped again and pushed back almost to the 20-metre line once more.
That was good work by Crosby and McIlorum.
So the boot of Craig Hall again. And same again into the arms of Burgess in exactly the same spot, almost, that they began the last attack from Wigan.
Yeah, it's very difficult to get the kick away. That's the second occasion, right down the throat. You know, I often think that it's far better if they just keep it low, put it on, make sure it goes over the whitewash. Okay, you won't get as much distance, but at least it just slows things down, and that's what Wakefield have to do. If we can get into the scheme of things, playing the ball quickly, they're going to be difficult to stop.
Mossop with a drive up the middle. Fighting to get to his feet quickly. Plays the ball to McIlorum. He has a little scamper. Finds Matty Smith. There's a hole opened up. He's got Bateman in support. Oh, and he's left Craig Hall for dead. Left him absolutely flat-footed, Matty Smith. I think Craig Hall believed the pass would be coming to Bateman. It never was. Smith held on, and underneath the posts he goes. So Matty Smith, the England international, puts Wigan ahead.
Well, this is unbelievable. It was a beautiful pass, but, well, Craig Hall, what on earth was he thinking? He just put himself in between absolutely nobody. It was as if he heard the whistle blow or something like that. That's the softest try I think I've seen this season.
Sometimes you can get penalised, can't you, for over enthusiasm. I think the fullback makes a mistake. But earlier on, the line was broken. Danny Kermond had worked so hard, hadn't he? He thought, I'll get up here, effect some change here, put a big hit in. But the brains really from the Wigan hooker passed the ball to a man in space, in a better position. As soon as he's through the line, well, the walking looked too easy, didn't it? I think you find out just how determined you are when you end up out of breath in rugby league. And after you've been running for about 15 minutes, your lungs tend to be on fire. Wakefield didn't seem to be able to cope with running. Danny Kermond's probably the fittest player, and he's the one who sadly made the error.
Smith from bang in front makes it 12 points to 6 to the Wigan Warriors. Well, I don't know what on earth happened to Craig Hall there, but he certainly seemed to give up the ghost.
Well, Phil's right. The line had been bust. There was a disjoint between the thinking of Danny Kermond and Nick Scruton on his outside. They need to tighten up around the ruck on both sides. They were far too spread on that occasion. Huge gap between Kermond and Scruton, and Michael McIlorum was able to take advantage of that. Once they broke through, Craig Hall perhaps could have done better, but the damage had been done with the poor spacing between defenders C and D off the ruck.
Well, 2 tries in around about 12 minutes for Wigan, and it's normal service resumed as far as they are concerned. What can Wakefield do now? They got the wonderful start, shocked everybody, shocked Wigan, shocked themselves probably. What do they do now to get back into this game?
Well, first of all, they've got to interrupt this Wigan outfit, and to do that, you've got to become a bit niggly. Try to hold them down, take the risk. You've got to just try to, there you see how they're turning the man, and he knows it, James Webster. Sometimes you have to put the pressure on the referee, Robert Hicks. Sometimes you get away with it, other times you give a penalty away, but they've just got to get into a niggling mode to upset the opposition. That's good work. That's great work from the hooker, McIlorum.
And the ball stands in the in-goal area, and Craig Hall will try and run this ball back. Leeds will play Warrington live on Sky Sports 1 tomorrow from 7:30. And on Saturday, we will see Catalan Dragons against Hull Kingston Rovers. 4:55, Sky Sports 3 will be live in Perpignan.
Oh, nice offload. Got the opportunity there.
Godinez, though, is held on tackle number 3. French international Michael Simon has come on, and Washbrook makes a break down that left-hand side again.
Oh, he should have come
Riley
inside.
gets the ball. It was a good offload in the end. They're flooding forward now, the white jerseys. Riley's gone the wrong way.
Well, he should have come in as a winger. He couldn't come in earlier, did Riley. He stayed out for a while.
Tim Smith now, long pass to Craig Hall. Up the middle he goes, finds Godinez. Godinez then off the fingertips of Reece Lynn, but it was knocked forward.
Well, a golden opportunity. They had the break.
This is their second best moment of the match. That apart.
Yep. It's all about the finishing, isn't it? They made the break. And watch for the winger here. Now, he should have come in a bit earlier than that. He got it eventually, but you can see the scrambling defence from Wigan. Very, very strong indeed. Good work again by McAlorum.
I don't know what the Wakefield self-talk's like here. They're all formed for this scrum in the area to defend, but they have to give themselves some positive feedback. And breaking Wigan's line with the ease that they've done it in this match in the opening 20 minutes has to give them some confidence that they continue to believe in themselves here and defend here now with the pace and intensity that Wigan have. They've got a chance.
Well, the most important thing as far as the Wakefield coach, James Webster, that's the second occasion that they put pressure on Anthony Gelling in the defensive pattern. And on both occasions, they've made the break. They've got to put more pressure on him.
McAlorum from dummy half runs into the back of his own player, Bateman, but then is brought to ground. Kermond inevitably, I suppose, and Daniel Smith with the tackling. Matty Smith offloads the ball to Mossop. No way through for Mossop. Yes, they're trying to slow the play the ball down now a little. George Williams, though, gets the ball wide to Dan Sarginson. Sarginson hoists the kick high. This should be easy for Craig Hall, and is. Sarginson following up, though, gets the tackle in with help from Liam Farrell.
Well, that gives you some indication why Dan Sarginson is not a regular kicker. It was far too easy for the to defuse that bomb. But they'll be lifting in confidence, Wakefield. As I say, they've made those 2 clean breaks. They really could have made it and squared it up at 12 all.
Neil Smith hangs on 30 metres from his own line, plays the ball, and the Frenchman Simon brings it forward. 17 times he's played for his country, plays the ball quickly to McShane. McShane then finds Godinez, the Samoan international. They have the talent at Wakefield. They have a sprinkling of internationals in this side, and they have Tim Smith, and that's his kick in towards the corner. And will this stand in the in-goal area? No, it just took a hop there on about the second or third bounce. He's annoyed with himself,
yeah,
Tim Smith.
He's every right to be as well. He tried to get the backspin on it. Just didn't work out in the end.
Lee Mossop coming off the field. Tony Clubb coming on, who's been very good for Wigan this season. Lee Mossop, I think, the man cut out for Danny Washbrook's break down that left-hand side. Front rower, found himself out wide. Washbrook good enough to take advantage of that. Wasn't able to work the 2-on-1, Steve. I think it's the man carrying the ball has the onus to change his line of running before Chris Riley can make a move himself. But Sean Wayne has made a change, and here's a chance.
Great ball from Sarginson to Joe Burgess, and again, he's round Craig Hall. And Craig Hall was left on his heels once more. And Burgess's pace and the craft of Sarginson with the pass out wide gives Wigan their 3rd try. And Joe Burgess, well, he keeps on scoring. 4 tries in his last 4 before tonight. That's 8 tries for the season now. His last-minute try against Brisbane, remember, in the World Club Series, took the game into extra time. No extra time tonight. Won't be needed, I don't think.
Oh, tremendous play by the centre, Dan Sarginson. And look at the winger. Burgess came in and then just a little shuffle. And I'm afraid if you want a highlights tape, one fullback, Craig Hall, will not want to buy it. He's not having his best time out there, you can see. He was flat-footed. Good pullbacks, trying to just force him out into the corner, but he allowed him the space, this fella. Take nothing away, nice little step, Big swerve right the way through. This should be easy conversion for Matty Smith.
And Smith obliges. 6-0 down Wigan in the first minute. 18-6 up now here at Bellevue.
Well, Wakefield are still alive in this game with the score as it is. Another example of Wigan scoring a try from their own half. Nice feet and then good speed here. Just makes this look so easy. But I'd be tempted here. Wakefield need the ball in their opponent's half because they're going to have to score some points. Why not go to try and contest this restart? Kicking it deep and watching Wigan monotonously work their way back up to the halfway line. I think this is suicide in Super League.
I'll tell you what, they have, Phil, they had got some issues. It was 3-on-3 on the short side there, and one of their better players, Danny Kermond, was made to look pretty ordinary by a bit of footwork by Sargentson, which drew Richard Owen in and allowed Sargentson to slip the pass to Joe Burgess on the wing. That's far too easy. They had numbered up well, but their efforts in getting in front of the player to make the tackle was poor, especially from one of their better players, as I said, in Kermond.
Hang on, mate. Get square,
Well, McShane is injured. Just feeling the pinch a bit after making that tackle. The ball was released, by the way, after referee Robert Hicks called 2, which in itself means that the tackle was made, the player was held.
Well, the one objective now for Wakefield is to stop them from getting over the halfway line, and I'm afraid yet again they failed to do that. Well, it was about a 5-minute period where they were slowing things down, and I'm afraid Wigan are taking full advantage. Look, they're looking to get on with it. Kerman doing his best to slow it, and is giving away the penalty. It's always a risk.
And that's the last thing you need on the final tackle coming up. Kermond, it was a good run from Williams, too quick for them really, and Kermond, well, didn't release him in time. Referee blew the whistle. Here come Wigan again. And Tony Clubb it is. Praised by his coach, Sean Wayne, this season for his contributions, starting and off the bench. McIlorum got a bang on the head last week against Warrington, fully fit to play here tonight. Charnley and Sean O'Loughlin there. Josh Charnley on the left of your screen. Sean O'Loughlin, the skipper, still out. Might be a week or two away yet for him. Maybe next week for Charnley. And, they made a bit of a meal of that between them, Gelling and Manfredi. Hampshire got the ball away, but it's a knock-on, and that's relief for Wakefield.
Certainly was. You can see there they had 3-on-1. It really should have been offloaded straight away. Fullback went on his own, and it finished up with a very, very poor pass in the end. But if you can get a 3-on-1, you've got to pass that ball.
Considering that Wakefield haven't played particularly well, notes in the book there, considering Wakefield haven't played particularly well, they're still alive in this game, and they're almost at 25 minutes. But they need to find some energy here to get up to the halfway line. Some quicker runs and faster play the balls will certainly help them.
Crowd appealing for a high shot by Bateman. It was over the shoulder and certainly round the neck of Chris Riley. This is Ben Kavanagh. And McShane again. Good drive forward by Simon.
Trouble is, plenty of effort, but they're not getting over the advantage line, whereas Wigan, they're getting over it very, very comfortably indeed. This is better.
And Rhys-Lynn is quick. And Rhys-Lynn is very quick. Burgess will attest to that, but Burgess recovers well. Quick play the ball needed. Richard Owen at dummy half. Here is Craig Hall in an attacking mode. Smith to Godinay. Godinay drops the ball off to McShane.
Oh, that was brilliant defence there from Wigan. The sheer fitness level there of the Wigan side to get back into a straight line, but they've got the numbers here.
They have, and Kermond is in. Kermond is in for Wakefield. It was a wonderful break down the right-hand side by Rhys-Lynn. That set the tone. Quick play the ball, and the Wakefield kept the enthusiasm, kept the numbers. And the skipper gets over for try number 3 of the campaign, but more importantly, gets them back within touching distance. Look at this from Lynn.
Very, very strong indeed. You've got to give Burgess some credit. He couldn't believe it. This is the high shot, and he lost it. Not picked up though, but it was a high shot. They got away with. But this is just run out of numbers. There was nothing that Dan Sargentson could do about that. He knew he had to go for the man that's going to offload. Watch him coming out of it. You say, well, maybe I could just stop it, but he can't. It's an easy running for Kermond. boy, did ever the team need that, and he knows it.
Yes, a little bit of good fortune, a little bit of lady luck smiling on the Wakefield skipper. They definitely lost the ball in the build-up to that try, not spotted. And Craig Hall from bang in front, well, he should have the extras. This should be 18-12 to Wigan, and that is exactly what it is.
It's very hard to measure belief, but you've got to imagine that this try and the play leading up to it has put something into their belief bank here, because they know here now they're going toe-to-toe with Wigan in attack. When they make a break, though, it doesn't automatically translate into a tie. But Tim Smith's passing, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? How he just delivers it so soft to his teammates. Nice tip on. Kermond and his team here now have a chance. Can they create an atmosphere and a spirit that gives them some fight?
Stuart Cummings, you've got an opinion on that build-up.
Well, just to say that couldn't be referred to the video referee. The officials have missed the incident, but it can't be referred to the video referee because it occurred before the final play of the ball. So it's only incidents after the play of the ball that can be referred. So one that got away there.
One that got away. Let's go down and get away to Bill.
Eddie, I've been Sean Wayne watching in the last couple of minutes, and he really is not a happy coach up there, high up in the stand, looking down on the pitch. And it really a sequence of incidents that frustrated him, because Wigan could have been in the corner just a few minutes before that. If you remember, made a foul up of things on Dom Manfredi's wing when they looked as though they had the try at their line. And of course, Sir Wakefield go up the other end and go in for a try that lifts their confidence. And the Wigan coach has been prowling around up there, looking at the replay on his laptop just behind him, and he won't be impressed with what his side have served up so far.
Let's not forget either that Wakefield are bottom of the table, bottom of the first utility Super League table by 4 clear points.
Problem for Bateman. He's down in back play. That's a great kick. Oh, it's going to stay in as well.
Yes, and Burgess from close to his own line has to start this set of 6 for Wigan. And good chase from Kermond and Tim Smith. There's Bateman just jogging his way to the sideline. He's just clutched his right wrist there as well. Obvious problem for John Bateman after that tackle. And it was a tackle on big Ian Kirk.
Yeah, I think he may have just twisted the wrist as we're going down, because he went low on Kirk there. It's so important that Wakefield can stop them getting over the halfway line. It's and they've done it, and it's such a huge boost, you know.
Yes, because Smith has to kick from just inside his own half. Decent kick, though, in between the two players there, Owen and Craig Hall. And Owen, well, they, I think, took the gamble. It was going to run dead, and it didn't, and that's a wonderful chase.
But it looked
and
like
it's Ben Flower who got the tackle in.
It looked like a poor kick in the end, and then Wakefield, I'm afraid, allowed it to bounce. Really are better off being, you know, positive, getting to that ball as quickly as possible. Now you see where they are. And on the third play of the ball, they've only just got back the 20-metre line.
Ryan picks himself up, plays the ball to McShane. He got a bit of a bang on the head there at the same time, did Matt Ryan. This is Riley. It's okay, back on his feet. Thumbs up from the physio. Simon takes it forward. Taluma Tautai is out there. He was here with the Wakefield Wildcats last year, had a couple of seasons with the club. Oh, and McShane, has he got that right?
Yeah.
He's got it wrong.
Oh, no, did it hit? Well, I just thought for the moment there that the touch just raised the flag, but he was actually waving it out.
Yeah, mate, last tackle.
Yeah, it was well over.
The right decision for Paul McShane to kick from dummy half. It was a foot away from being a very good kick. Wigan were chasing down the usual Wakefield Trinity Wildcat kickers. The hooker recognised that, popped out on his left-hand side from dummy half, just didn't measure the kick properly. They're the sort of mistakes can hurt you, but the thinking behind the decision to make the kick was the correct one.
Well, Wigan looking to take their advantage from that mistake. This is Sargentson. Oh, and he's not tackled. Now he is by Tim Smith. And Burgess, the dummy half. Hampshire to Williams, lays it off to Tautai again. Big night for him, first return to this ground since he left.
Creates all sort of problems, a very difficult man to put down.
Sam Powell's out there as well. He's coming to the side for Logan Tompkins. This is Matty Smith. He's grounded 3 metres out. Powell again, weighing up the options, comes into centre field, finds George Williams. Williams thought about the kick, does a 360, and then takes the tackle, and that's the 5th. Oh, and, well, that should not be allowed, surely. Tompkins goes wide, Joel Tompkins, and he finds Manfredi. Manfredi out the back door. Here's Gelling, and Gelling will drive for the line. Gelling is airborne. Gelling gets the ball away. He gave it away to McShane.
He's lost it. He's saying that it was pinched away from him, but I'm not so sure. It's no try. He just wants to see whether the ball was being stolen or whether he lost control.
I don't know why he's handed it up as no try, Stuart. It's obvious it wasn't. He's not thinking, surely. He can't give a penalty try for a 2-on-1, more than 2-on-1 tackle, can he?
No, it can't be. It's just a penalty. I think it's a loose referral, shall we say.
Well, hold on. Explain that, Stuart. He's using the video referee when it's inappropriate. He's not allowed to use the video referee on that occasion. There's absolutely no way a try has been scored. It's not even in question.
No, well, he knows it's not a try. He's looking for a restart. He wants to see whether it should be a penalty or it should be a play.
But is he allowed to refer it like that?
Well, it's not within the policy, but he's referred it from the field. So the video referee is obliged to look at it now.
Do you know Craig Hall struggle when players have run round him, as we see the decision here? Obviously no try.
We all knew it was a no try, and it's a play the ball. There's not a penalty.
Let's give Craig Hall some credit. When Anthony Gelling ran straight at him, he did a really good job of stopping him on the spot and keeping him up off the floor. That led to him, but he's done well there.
It was a great run by Gelling. I mean, he got into top gear very quickly indeed. Nearly caught the Wakefield defence napping.
Well, the video referees have had a word in his ear, obviously, Stuart, and he wants Paul McShane to play the ball.
Yeah, he was the one that ended up with the ball, so he's the one that has to play it.
And that's the first tackle that's now been completed.
That's right.
So we're now on tackle 2. Confusion all round, but that's not confusing. The ball comes away, and Craig Hall pounced on it quickly. Good job he did as well. Here comes Ian Kirk again. Wigan are hunting, gets the pass away though. Kermond makes a bit of ground forward.
That's got to be a penalty, surely, hanging around there. Farrell, home crowd don't like it.
Well, Sargent is just taking somebody off the ball.
And the touch judge on this near side has spotted it. It's Tim Smith who's in a bit of trouble. No, it's Richard Owen.
Yeah,
Richard Owen is the man who's struggling.
Sargentson came in with the shoulder, and that will be penalised. In fact, I think that deserves a yellow card.
Well, it's probably what they call hitting on suspicion, thinking he's going to get the ball, but he didn't. It's off the ball, and I think it's just a penalty, that one.
It's going to be a penalty for the off the ball. Just be more careful.
Just gets a word in his ear, Sargentson.
Huge for Wakefield, this. This is a huge decision. And it's a correct decision, but it gives them the opportunity to kick the ball down the field. Craig Hall, he's got some good yards with it, and it should put Wakefield in a position to put an attacking kick in or an attacking play in at the end of this set. Very important set for them here as we approach the 33-minute mark.
Indeed, they start on halfway with the first tackle. They're pushed back into their own half with the tackle on Simon.
You've got to give Wakefield a lot of credit as well. You know, they were only a couple of metres from their own goal line, and they're quite happy to try to twist and offload it. Came off in the end. OK, they got the penalty.
Here's Smith. Gets it to Kermond. He's stopped dead in his tracks by the tackle from Williams. Godinet and Tim Smith lays it off to Ian Kirk.
They need a few dummy runners, Wakefield. They're taking it to the left. Smith is controlling.
Arrived from Leeds with a groin injury, did Ian Kirk, but here comes Matt Ryan down that left-hand side again. This is the last tackle coming up then for Wakefield. And Tim Smith with a crossfield kick. Now then, Hall's after this. And that's very well claimed, but it's going to be a goal line dropout, is it?
No,
maybe not.
Just inside. Boy, that was good work there by Joe Burgess.
He just stayed a couple of centimetres inside the field of play.
Just had a second grab at it, and there you see, ball carrying arm, hits the deck.
Yes, he was in the in-goal area, or at least his legs were straddling it, but the ball was grounded this side of the line. Powell will pick himself up, play it to Farrell. Club will take it on again, straight into the chest of Simon.
Oh, it's on.
It's on here behind the play. Oh, they're all involved. They're running from all corners of the ground.
Well, it started out as handbags, but I think there was a few connecting.
Well, that's Joel Tompkins, who's got the shirt almost ripped off his back.
I think it was Tim Smith that was involved to start with. Not sure who it was with, but it was certainly developing behind. A lot of screams coming from the touch judges as they came onto the field, which drew the referee's attention.
Yeah, there's pushing and shoving there, wasn't there? And then Smith, and is it
Sam Powell?
Is it Powell? Sam Powell having a set to with him?
Well, he got a couple in, did Tim Smith.
Well, there's certainly a couple of punches thrown, so you'd expect a card of some sort to be dealt out with this one.
Well, Smith wasn't standing square, and he slaps him to start with. See, he's not standing square, then he just slaps him, pushes him, and then it's all on.
Okay, so Smith's the first defence. Yeah. Both throw punches, yeah?
Well, he's gone to his back pockets and he's just checked that they've both thrown punches.
Tim, you thrown punches.
So Tim Smith is in the sin bin for throwing a punch.
You're not debating it, get in the bin.
Well, I think I heard him say that they were both throwing punches, so if that's the case, they'll both end up in the bin.
So 2 men in the bin. And now he wants Danny Kerman. Surely it's not going to be 3, is it? Or is he just going to have a word with the skippers?
I think he's going to have a word with the captains on this, I think.
There's nothing in it at first. Then Smith throws a punch. He retaliates. They're both in the bin. First defence. It's Wigan heading through.
Well, he looked frustrated. Did Sam Powell? He thought that, OK, it was Powell that retaliated.
Well, I'm not so sure he threw any punches, actually, Steve, or Sam Powell. I think he was just standing there taking it.
I think he was trying to throw a punch, but came off second best. Not that there was much power by Tim Smith.
So here come Wigan again. Both sides down to 12 for the last 5 or 6 minutes of this first half, and the opening exchanges of the second then. And Flower will take it forward. And he goes down on tackle number 2.
Well, they're getting away with it, Wakefield, holding them down. They're slowing Wigan from playing that ball very, very quickly indeed.
Hampshire gets it away to Gelling. Gelling down the line. One for Manfredi to chase. He hacks it forward, and Owen, Craig Hall to the rescue for the Wildcats. Just thumps the ball out of play with the right boot.
Boy, that was intelligent play by Anthony Gelling.
Well, 12-a-side on a great pitch in good weather, and it should suit the more skillful players, the more skillful side. Wigan have got a brilliant opportunity here to extend the lead before half-time.
It really has come to the fore this year as the centre, Anthony Gelling, has been outstanding. And the combination, as we said earlier, Eddie, with Dom Manfredi is superb.
And here's Hampshire. He finds Farrell. Farrell driving it towards the posts again, and the devil's own job for those 3 to bring him down. Williams waiting at the play the ball, 2 metres out. Back it comes to Matty Smith. He attacks the line, gives it to Hampshire. Wide it goes to Manfredi, and Manfredi's over for yet another try. This prolific young winger. 10 tries in the last 5.5 games now for Dom Manfredi. Joint top scorer in the Super League in that moment, Dom Manfredi. Into double figures, and Wigan get the boost of a try just before half-time.
Yeah, it's all about basics with Wigan at times, and they know how to do it. You can see that how Smith just held back. It was beautiful play by the fullback, Ryan Hampshire. It's one thing when you want to come in on the outside, but Hampshire comes very short, and then you could see there was nothing that Riley could do about it. Inside, Matt Ryan couldn't get anywhere near them. This is good play there by the fullback Hampshire, and that's a good step. Boy, is this guy making a name for himself.
You know, Tim Smith's slap on Sam Powell is just indefensible. The more I sit about it and think here, Eddie, they were in the game, weren't they? They had a crowd, they had some, they were on the toes, they were buzzing, there was a lift about what Wakefield were trying to achieve. They've conceded another penalty, and all of a sudden another try, and it's totally taken any enthusiasm out of, I think, a lot of their play, and maybe even the supporters as well here.
Well, Phil, I have to agree with you, because there are times in a rugby league player's career where they just go dumb, and I'm afraid Tim Smith did exactly that.
Well, the other Smith in 7, Matty, on the Wigan side now with his most difficult conversion attempt of the night, but he's kicked it just the same. And from 18-12, they stretch the lead to 24-12, right on the stroke of half-time.
Clever play, and you'll see how the fullback just links in. Normally you'd go outside the centre on several occasions, but that is a good step. He knows that he has just cost his side a try. And so does his coach, James Webster.
Well, Tim Smith was the Wigan halfback 2008-2009. He missed the big defeat at Wigan earlier in the season.
Sometimes wonder what would happen. He didn't get the shoulder injury, whether Sam Tompkins' career would have had a chance. He may have been playing down in the Championship. A lot of young players never get that opportunity. Obviously, he did really well, Tompkins, then he took his chance and his career obviously flourished. But without that injury, life's sometimes sliding doors, and wonder where Sam Tompkins would have been right now.
Well, we know where he'll be next year, and we know where he is at the moment, down with the New Zealand Warriors. He's still out injured, but he's on the way to coming back into the NRL, and he'll have 5 or 6 months down there, and then he'll come back into Super League and hopefully light the competition up once again. Here is Burgess. Burgess will go the other way. He's on his way to the Sydney Roosters. The ball into nobody, particularly in centre field. The scraps picked up by Matty Smith. Brilliant pick-up off the toes by Ben Flower.
Unbelievable. He was falling to the ground.
Tautai. They go wide again. Joel Tompkins, Gelling. And I think that Craig Hall has pinched it. He has.
Well, he deserved that, because that final pass from Wigan, that certainly looked a touch forward. Justice has been done there. You could see Gelling had to turn and reach for it.
Wigan now caught offside.
Quick tap. Oh, no, he says he's got to wait until they all get back into position.
I think what they're trying to do there is to get some control over the restart. It's usually about a 5 to 7 second delay. If he just hung on in that position instead of walking away, he would probably still got a quick one.
It's hard to please, isn't he, Sean Wayne? Scoreline 24-12, a 12-point lead, and he looks troubled.
Well, he'd probably be angry that they've conceded 2 tries, but he has to give a little bit of credit, I think, for a spirited Wakefield. You know, 12-point deficit at half-time. It's probably better, and here's another penalty because he was not being allowed to play the ball, Washbrook. This half-time deficit, if it stays at 12 points, probably a lot better than a lot of people tipped, you know.
Well, that should have been a penalty, because Tautai came in when the tackle was virtually completed, and he went very, very low.
Godinez with a little scamper from a quick tap penalty. 30 seconds to go. They've got plenty of tackles in the bank. And here again is Kermond.
Well, can we see the fullback Craig Hall make amends for 2 woeful defensive efforts? Can he join into the 3-quarter line? They're keeping it alive.
They are. Washbrook gets the ball inside to Kermond. It just opens up a little bit for Kermond. Tautai came flying in again. This will probably be the last play of the ball. Godinez! And Godinez scores!
Quick thinking there. Good stuff from the standoff.
Good try from the Samoan international, who really did catch the eye in the Four Nations, Peter Godinez. This is his first start of 2015 after 6 substitutions.
Wakefield,
a fantastic tournament in the autumn for the Samoans. They've been waiting here to see when he'll bring that form with him to Super League in Wakefield. He's just delivered.
And watch Tautai coming very, very late. And messing around by Williams gave them the position. But this is well poached, isn't it? And he's every right to be very, very happy, because he's given the home side just a chance. It looked all over, 12-point lead, until this guy makes it interesting for the second stanza.
Yes, he does. I was talking about a 12-point disadvantage for Wakefield. 6 points down at half-time is a fantastic effort from them. And maybe that's why we've seen Sean Wayne scowling behind the sticks that Craig Hall is now aiming at. And he makes no mistake. And so the gap is 6 points. 18 to Wakefield, 24 to Wigan. Godinez's first try since the opening round win against Castleford.
Successful conversion.
Will it be a round 12 win that we're watching here against Wigan? They had the perfect start to the half. They've had a wonderful end to the first half as well. And James Webster's half-time team talk will be perhaps a little easier than it. There's a huge night of live pay-per-view boxing coming up on Saturday, the 2nd of May, Saturday week. Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao battle it out at the MGM Grand Las Vegas. For connected Sky customers, the easiest way to book the fight is with your remote control. Simply go to channel 491 if you're an SD customer and 492 for those with HD. Booking with your remote is the only way to add the event to your Sky planner, and you'll only be charged if you watch it. Cable customers should contact your operator. For more details, go to skysports.com/Maypack. Here at Bellevue, the home of the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Bottom of the table, Wakefield giving Wigan a bit of a shake-up. They led in the very first minute, courtesy of Craig Hall's try. Then they fell behind. It looked like they were going to be at least 12 in arrears at half-time, but the big fight back came from Wakefield, and they got a try right on the stroke of the break from Peter Godinez. And just behind that wall, James Webster is delivering his team talk. And Sean Wayne, well, we saw him several times in the first half. He didn't look a happy bunny, and he doesn't look a happy bunny right now, and he's giving his team a little bit of a verbal. And he obviously wants a little bit more from them in the second half. It has been a creditable display from Wakefield, considering where they are at the foot of the table. Brian and John.
Thanks very much, Eddie. It's been that and so much more. Last time out in Super League, Wakefield Trinity Wildcats lost 80 points to nil, 30-0 at half-time. 39 seconds into this game, we knew that scoreline could not and would not be repeated, John.
Not in the scripts, they weren't listening to us before the game. It's a fantastic start by Wakefield, but it was played for as well. It didn't happen by accident. First person I want to bring to your attention is Lee Mossop. He's at first marker. He's important because they actually do a very good job on tying up this right edge. So the ball's moved across. This is the play before the break. Now, the person who's had to move, I'll pick him up again for you, is Lee Mossop here. And he's going to make a very late, as we switch cameras to behind, a very late movement as he's called across by Ryan Hampshire to the other side of the ruck. Now, he gets there, and he's able to put some pressure on and get out here. However, I think because he's so late across, these guys have already made the decision. Gelling and then Smith outside him have already decided we need to come in and start playing inwards. And once they do that, they're in all sorts of trouble. Matty Smith takes nobody, gets caught in two minds between Ryan and Godinez, and then good support play from the fullback, who's had a mixed first half on the inside for the first try.
Well, that whole try converted, 6-0 to Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Dom Crosby barging over after 7 minutes to tie the game up, and then it looked like Wigan had kicked into gear with a Matty Smith try shortly after that.
Yeah, it was a bit strange. When we first watched it back, it looked like Craig Hall had completely missed what was going on. I think there's a slight lapse in concentration here from the fullback. He's not a regular fullback, but he has played there before. Now, what I would say, at this point, now this is the start of the play the ball, all your ball players, so Matty Smith at first receiver, you've got George Williams out here, and you've got Ryan Hampshire out the back. They're your strike force.
So your threat is to the right of Craig Hall, is what you're saying.
So you've got to ask yourself, what is Craig Hall doing here? I think it's a momentary lapse in concentration. I think he should be the other side of the ruck. That's where he should. That'd be the natural position for a fullback to sit. Now, because he's not, when the ball comes out to Matty Smith here, and Matty Smith goes through the hole, all of a sudden, Craig Hall's had to make a really stretched movement this way to try and recover ground, and it's a very easy movement on the other side for Matty Smith to do him on the inside. So whilst it looks terrible, it's down to a little bit of basic positioning before and a lapse in concentration from the fullback.
Ball put down underneath the post, quite easily converted after that. 12-6 to Wigan Warriors. Joe Burgess' try made it 18 points to 6. And if you were looking at the scoreline alone, you would think Wigan were going away from it. That would discount any of the opportunities that Wakefield had. They broke Wigan a couple of times, John, and got a try out of it.
Yeah, and they're doing very well on getting to the Wigan edges and actually asking questions of those three quarters and standoffs and scrum halves that are sitting out there. So again, here's the play before. And this is how they get caught short to Wigan, because at this point here, you've got 4 sitting on the short side for Wigan against 3 for Wakefield. So that means there's 1 over. Then you add the fullback in the attacking side, so that's 2 over. And then the late retreat from Michael McElroy, who plays no real part in that defensive line. So that's 3 men short. So you can understand why the likes of Sarginson and George Williams on the inside would be getting a little nervous. However, having said that, I thought the play run to get on the outside of him, this little play here between Kermond and Hall, really well run.
Stops the slide.
Stops the slide, commits Sarginson. Burgess does well to recover. But from that point on, that defensive edge, all the guys that you can see on your screen there, they never recovered. 2 plays later, again, you can see how thin they are on this open side, and it's a walk-in, really.
That made 18 points to 12. Then a Don Manfredi try, 24-12 to Wigan. And then in the last 30 seconds of the game, Peter Godinez, dummy to his right, barged over to his left. Very smart try. Talima Tautai caught out. The Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, Eddie, absolutely in this game.
Very much so. They've teed it up for us nicely in the second half. And don't forget, if you look back in the record books, you'll know that on the 12th of July 2014, it was the date of Wigan's last win away from home, 37-16 in Perpignan against the Catalan Dragons. They don't like the air of West Yorkshire. They've lost each of the last 7 visits to this part of the world. Will the bottom of the table team win in the second half? They love their rugby league here. They love their Catalan Dragons. Only a victory will do for the French supporters.
Escarret will chase. The man we picked out as the threat has delivered. I can't believe that.
It could be a try. Fredino is on his feet. But all pointing at us. We might not get off this gantry alive. Well, we're in Perpignan this weekend. That's on Saturday. Before that, Leeds against Warrington is the big match for Friday. Sky Sports 1 at 7:30. And Saturday, it's the Catalan Dragons against Hull Kingston Rovers at 5 minutes to 5 on Sky Sports 3. And just let me tell you also that in Sky Sports news at 10 tonight, we will have news from the test match in Grenada as West Indies take on England. And Arsene Wenger talks ahead of the Arsenal-Chelsea match, which we'll be able to see live on Sky Sports this weekend in the Premier League. Chelsea, of course, need just 2 wins to claim the 2015 title. Craig Hall's booming kickoff at the start of this second half, and Tautai will run it back for Wigan. What do you think we can expect, Steve-O, in this second half? More Wigan points or more resilience from the Wildcats?
It depends what about how much fuel they've still got left in the tank. They started out very, very well, didn't they, Wakefield? But they've got to make sure, I keep saying it, they can't afford to give away silly penalties. They've got to just do the basics right. At the moment, that was a good kick-off. They've got the forwards in there. They've got to prevent them getting in their opponent's half. If they can do that, then the kicking game is nullified. But you can see they're already creating problems now for Wakefield. When it comes to the last.
Tautai with the run, brought down by Lauatiti. The kick through is by Matty Smith. This should be dealt with by Craig Hall. Burgess almost got there. Sargentson does and brings him to the ground. Change over in possession then. Let us go down and see what was said by the coaches half-time. Bill.
Eddie, it's fair to say that Sean Wayne was not impressed with that first 40 minutes from his team, and he let them know at half-time in no uncertain terms by all accounts. Main area was the defensive effort of his team, a sloppiness at times, the fact that they allowed Wakefield to go round them on occasions. So he's looking for a big improvement from his side, and he laid it on the line for the Wigan Warriors, as Sean Wayne tends to do. James Webster in the opposite corner for the Wakefield Wildcats, pretty satisfied with his team's effort. Well, very satisfied with his team's effort, of course, given the fact that everybody had written them off ahead of this game, and he's really impressed that they've managed to score these points without having a great deal of possession, without having a great deal of territory either. So if they can get that right, then he's optimistic about the second half. His big concern, though, is the physical battle, because his side, I think he's worried that Wakefield might wilt in the face of a big Wigan effort in this second 40.
Thanks, Bill. And of course, both sides still down to 12 men. Start of this second half. There is Sean Wayne, who's delivered the message to his players. 12 aside because Tim Smith is off for the Wakefield Wildcats. And off for Wigan is Sam Powell. Got involved in a little bit of a dust-up during that first half.
Well, we saw there Wigan trying to get the ball played very, very quickly. It's as though there's a bit of a problem. Oh, nice play.
Yes, Farrell found Sargentson. He's down the wing. He has Burgess, and Burgess picks the ball up. Gets his second try of the night, does Joe Burgess. And that was quite easy, actually, for Wigan. They went from halfway all the way to the try line. Almost without a glove being laid on them. So Joe Burgess, his second try of the match, in great form, Burgess, as is his wing partner on the other side, Manfredi.
Just basics. Beautiful offload from Farrell, and Sargentson did everything right, and once again Craig Hall could not make contact. Not a good night for Hall, the fullback. Beautiful little pass there. You could see how Farrell just sucked in Reece Lynn. And the final pass from Sargentson is superb. Well, all the plaudits, haven't they, been over the past few weeks, has been Manfredi and Gelling, their combination. Well, I must say tonight, Sargentson and Burgess, they have really shown their wares. That's beautiful play.
I'm a fan of Reece Lynn's. He made a great break in the first half. I think he's going to have a great career. But he's made that far too easy there for Wigan to make that break. It's almost as if Liam Farrell had scripted what he wanted to happen with the defenders. Wakefield have obliged, and they just made it look so simple. Great finish by Joe Burgess. But that's too easy a try to concede at this level, in my opinion.
So Matty Smith then with this conversion attempt from far out on the touchline. He's striking the ball well tonight, all right, is Matty Smith. 30 points to 18. A quick start to the second half. Just what Sean Wayne would have wanted.
Yeah, disappointing though. James Webster, he realised that they had to have that same shock effect. Remember, with only seconds, they put a try on the board from Craig Hall. They needed that, a repeat, but I'm afraid poor defence. They got caught out, especially with Reece Lynn being sucked in.
Good return of the ball from the kickoff by Ben Flower. Plays it then to Sam Powell. And down goes Liam Farrell on the tackle.
A lot of pressure.
By Scruton.
Sorry, Eddie, a lot of pressure on the substitute Ben Flower, of course. For
Tautai to Godinay to Chris Riley. What an error by Tolima Tautai on his return to Bellevue. And Sean Wayne will be fuming. The ball hit the ground, the first to react, Godinay. He then fed Chris Riley. And Riley, the ex-Warrington winger, just scampered home for a try. Well, what a bizarre start to this second half this has been. It was bizarre enough in the first. How about this?
Unbelievable. And why on earth he wanted to try to offload is anyone's guess. A one-under, Godinay says thank you. He did well. Good support there by Riley. When it looked done and dusted, all they had to do was just get the forward to take them up the field. That's a little bit overconfident. Tautai will not be happy with that, and I'll tell you another blow that won't be either. That's the Wigan coach, Sean Wayne.
Well, he played a season here at Wakefield, and he never once ran towards the sideline. Can't believe that he's changed direction from going straight towards the post across the sideline, and they both given one another a try to start the second half.
Well, his 26th consecutive appearance for Chris Riley since last May. Oh, and that conversion attempt from Hall goes wide of the posts. They could have done with that. It's an 8-point ball game. Riley with the try.
Yeah, that's a big miss, Eddie. A very, very big miss indeed. And what on earth they were thinking. You don't even have to think about that. We saw a couple of those in the Challenge Cup, didn't we, over the weekend? With the wonderful win by Lee over Salford. Where shoddy passes, they paid the price, and they certainly did on that occasion, Wigan.
Nick Scruton is trapped by the chasers. Godinay asking for a bit of support down this left-hand side. He gets it too from Simon, who unloads the ball, and it finds its way to Washbrook. And he gets the ball away to Godinay. They're coming again, are the Wildcats.
Yeah, it just shows you what confidence can bring to the team when you reply like that. Now Titi, Lee had something, especially with the offloads.
Incredible Ali Lau-Titi, his debut for Auckland Warriors as they were then 17 years ago. And he's still working his socks off for the Wildcats here tonight. Godinez is the dummy half. Misses out Lautiti, finds Smith. Smith then gives it to Simon, who is a willing worker, willing runner. Godinez at dummy half to Tim Smith. Goes high off the boot of Smith. Well claimed. Under pressure. Kept his eye on the ball at all times. Did well there, Burgess. Sargentson now.
We bumped into Michael Carter, Eddie, before the game, the chairman of the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. And I guess you could say he was apprehensive about the game here tonight. He had watched Wigan's performance against Warrington last week. 30 points to 20 victors, but very good in that game. He knows last time out his side were well beaten over the DW Stadium. But he must be proud now. 48 minutes into the game, his side trailing by just 8, having scored 22 against Wigan. This is a wonderful position for Wakefield. They have a chance to kick on and do something in this game. Do something significant for them, for their supporters, and to make the rest of the league take notice of the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats.
Nice run from Hampshire. He just swatted them off like pesky flies then. And this is Manfredi.
Good work by the winger as well, coming off the line. Just easing the workload from the forwards. But this has been a key factor. Matty Smith's kicking game has been outstanding again. He gets the backspin on that ball ever so effectively, and the chase is good.
Some Wakefield news, Bill.
Eddie, a real blow for Wakefield's Ian Kirk, who's just sitting in the dugout next to me with a great lump of ice on his hand, and it turns out he's broken his thumb on his Super League debut for the club. He came to Wakefield in close season, had a groin injury, had to wake his made to wake his debut last week. Whoa! And he's come out of it with a broken thumb, so that really is bad luck for Ian Kirk.
Well, it's awful luck, really. He came here, he had the problem with his groin, seemed to have got over that, came on 2 tries against Halifax in the Cup last week, and now out with a broken thumb. Awful, awful fortune for Ian Kirk. Meanwhile, Hampshire copes with that high kick very well. Ooh, and that was just in front of Sargentson, didn't get a fingertip to that. This is Burgess, he's hounded down by Washbrook and Scruton. That's tremendous stuff. That's tremendous stuff from Wakefield.
Danny Washbrook, when nobody else wanted to chase. Have a look at the effort of Danny Washbrook here. Wigan will say they're their own worst enemies, throwing the ball recklessly around near their own line. But the effort of Danny Washbrook, before he was assisted by Scruton et al. Have a look here. Chases a lost cause, forces Burgess backwards, grabs his jersey, and then Scruton comes in to finish it off. Brilliant play. Washbrook's been good. He's a utility player for them, great value. And his effort in this season so far is best summed up in this. Never give up.
So a goal line dropout forced, a goal line dropout taken!
Oh,
no. That's the last thing you want. A knock on from the goal line dropout, and all the pressure eases off Wigan.
The problem is, Eddie, there was no pressure.
It was coming at them, Steve-O, with this latest set of 6, but it isn't now.
He took his eye off the ball. That is a sin, and he knows it. And so does that fella, James Webster. He's had it rough over the last few weeks.
Well, there's been times, he was telling us on Boots and All last night, he's even been ringing up the rugby league and saying, what happens if I can't put 17 players out on the field? Such has been their injury crisis.
Whatever happens in this game, they've proved they're a competitive team again, and it was a blip when they were embarrassed at Warrington. They'll give a lot of teams a good game. They'll win a few more matches, even if they don't win this one. They'll not give up this yet, but they'll have to fix up the defence out wide. Because Wigan work to the middle and then shift it with this familiar pattern.
And here they come with Williams. It goes wide to Hampshire, further wide to Sargentson. And Sargentson, I think they've got the benefit of the doubt here with a knock-on.
Yeah, and Richard Owens knocked the ball on, trying to stop the pass going out wide, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The winger got his right arm to it. Once again, Sargentson. The combination tonight with Burgess has been effective.
Good job his arm came out, because they looked on that last shot there was nobody at home and Burgess would have been in.
Yeah. It's a gamble you have to take, even though it knows that your opposition going to get another set of 6.
And they are, and they start this set of 6 30 metres away.
I've been impressed tonight with the 2 halfbacks from Wigan. George Williams, Matty Smith with his kicking. But Williams has really just taken that role of being the organiser.
Solid run from Tautai, sets up the position. Powell to Smith. Hampshire ducks under one challenge. And the pass is flung out the side. And look at Wayne, look at Sean Wayne. He is furious. His team are throwing chance after chance away.
Boy, I thought he was going to break into I'm the king of the jungle there, Eddie. He's furious. What on earth are they trying to do?
Well, what's wrong with putting the ball in two hands and passing it is my question. I don't think you need to be fancy there. You don't need to put the ball in one hand, try and engage the defence with your left hand, and then flick it out. Ball in two hands, that's a try all day. He did very well to ride the first tackle, get himself in that position, but that should be put away to your winger. You understand why Sean Wayne looks like he wants to jump down out of that tower over there and throttle him.
Well, he'll hold his tongue, I'm sure, until the end of the match. Sean Wayne. This won't be pleasing him, but Phil Clark was right. You know, this will give Wakefield such encouragement for what's to come for the back end of the season. James Webster, their coach, has already said that they're looking for the Super 8s now. They're thinking about round 24 and onwards, the 7 matches they'll have against the teams in the Championship. And when you look at the bottom of the table, they're 4 points adrift, Phil, but you pick the 4 who are going down at this stage from the Super League into the Super 8s. It's a tough ask.
It is. I think that might have also been a post-match emotional reaction when he made that comment. You know, there's a long time left in this season, and I'm sure he's not written off the remaining 10 games or so. They've certainly shown here, look, an Larry Tita's determined to make a difference. He's come on and made a difference.
Well, we can't write off. Well, you know, we're only talking 8 points difference.
No, I'm not talking about this match. I'm talking about the season.
No, but, you know, we're talking saying... Well,
I'm not, by the way. James Webster was.
Yeah, we've got to look to it. I understand that, but they've got to try to get that confidence. And we've seen it. You know, we saw that they're trying to keep this ball alive.
Do you know, that's a great example of that tackle. They've had lots of 3 men in the tackle, Wakefield, but they don't put the Wigan player on the floor. They're ineffective tackles in comparison to those from the Warriors.
It was a great offload then that has given Manfredi the chance, and Hampshire is there with him. Oh, wonderful tackle by Hall. That's much better from the Wakefield fullback.
Is it ever?
Matty Smith.
He'll be pleased with that. But they've... oh, they got the numbers. That's a beautiful kick. It's a bit too strong, though.
Yes, Williams tried to find the winger down the left-hand side.
He's learning every single game, this fella, George Williams. The confidence running through, and that's the great tackle by Craig Hall. As I say, he made a real issue and 2 bad attempts in the first stanza.
We've seen him at times that he put in some very delicate kicks in Super League, but he's not kicking enough in games for me. Matty Smith, absolutely the dominant kicker in this Wigan side. In fact, last week against Warrington, George Williams kicked the ball twice in the whole game. Anthony Gelling, the right centre, I should say, kicked the ball more times than the standoff did in that game, which is very surprising. I'd like to see him practice the game, practice kicking in the game a little bit more.
Here's Washbrook.
Interesting, Brian, that you say that, and you just wonder whether Sean Wayne wants to develop his passing ability, George Williams. You know, sort of take the responsibility off him in that kicking department. We'll have to wait and see, but he's been impressive tonight as Williams.
Ben Kavanagh goes down eventually. McShane waits at dummy half, just inside his own half of the field. Smith just lays the ball off to Washbrook. He goes down on the last. Tony Clubb has had a problem all the way through this second half, and Paul McShane has all sorts of problems as well with that, a knock-on at that play the ball. Right, let's go down to Bill, because we've got news of Tony Clubb. What's gone on, Bill?
Well, Eddie, Tony Clubb left the field, and in fact, when Wigan went in for their last try, Tony Clubb was left on the ground in back play and having treatment. It looks as though it could be a back problem that has caused him to be taken straight to the dressing room. Steve Blakely and Professor Chris Brooks alongside him to take him there. So presumably they're going to have a further look at what the problem is for Tony Clubb.
So Tony Clubb under investigation for a back problem, maybe. Ben Flower, meanwhile, is the dummy half. Here's Williams, gives it to Dom Crosby. A special day for Crosby already. He has scored his first Super League try for 2 years.
Wakefield down.
Yes, there's a man flat out. And they're over the line. They're over the line in the shape of Lee Mossop. And two Wakefield players left trailing in the wake. Kermond is one, and then Washbrook is the other.
23, Lee Mossop.
So while they were down in numbers, Lee Mossop took full advantage and crashed his way over the line for the latest Wigan try.
And that's a sign of a good outfit that can understand when your opposition, you could see their defensive line was all over the place. They were down in numbers, and the fend off from Mossop was pretty impressive. Get out of the way. Not one, but two. Still enjoyed that. It's one of the best fends I've seen for quite some time.
Well, Lee Mossop also scored in the 52-10 win against Wakefield at the DW Stadium in March.
I'm loath to go back and call for obstruction. Danny Kermond had a good view of Lee Mossop, but Ben Flower was involved in the run and got very close to Lee Mossop. I'm not going to say he was obstructed, Danny Kermond. We can have a look at it here on this occasion. Ben Flower coming in, you'd probably get away with that. I mean, he does affect it, but you probably get away. Stewart might come in.
I think he gets away with it because he's behind the ball, he's behind the player. So if he was in front, it would be a different story.
Matty Smith adds the extras. Kicked well tonight, hasn't he, Matty Smith?
Yeah, both getting the 2 points over the crossbar, Eddie, and as well as his positional play with the kicking has been good.
100% with the boot, as you see.
Wigan Warriors, 36.
And
I mean, it was
Washbrook with, well, he's breathing heavily. He's round the back of the posts. I think he was holding his ribs. Maybe there's a bit of damage here. Ooh, he didn't get the tackle right. Then he had the considerable frame of Lauatiti falling on him as well.
Yeah, I think with Lauatiti's left knee that did the damage. It's a good deep kick, and they've got the numbers there. But you've got to give credit for Wigan. You know, that was a quick play of the ball. Wakefield couldn't. In fact, Wakefield didn't have a second marker at the play the ball area, and if you allow them to do that, the likes of Michael McAlorum will just make you pay.
Matty Smith. Ooh, Ben Flower went without it.
Knock on.
Well, they're gifting possession to Wakefield, aren't they? Quite a number of times in their own half.
Yeah, that's the point, Eddie, where they're gifting possession. You do it up the other end of the field, you've got a whole 90, 100 metres to defend. You do it down here and you're going to invite trouble. Ben Flower overrunning on this occasion. He'll be absolutely delighted with himself, back in the game, back playing Super League, running the ball hard tonight as well.
Yeah, 23 tackles, 10 carries against Warrington, his first appearance for 6 months. Got a standing ovation from the Wigan crowd when he came on. He said this week he didn't think he deserved that reaction. But the Wigan supporters anxious to let him know that they were still on his side despite it all.
To be fair, Eddie, he was really down and on energy, wasn't it? That was awful mistake yet again.
Yes, Danny Kermond this time, and Gelling holds the ball with that one hand. And he makes good progress, and he switches the ball to the left hand and gets it away to Sargentson.
It's amazing, you know. Anthony Gelling, he can surprise everybody. He can come up with some wonderful stuff, and then he can go to the depths and do some real poor stuff.
Of course, it was a free play as well, Eddie. Danny Kermond having dropped the ball. That's why Gelling looked. I was worrying, was he going to kick the ball? He had it in one hand, but he knew he had a free play up his sleeve, so he took a chance. Wigan in good attacking position now.
Yes, they are with Matty Smith. And back it comes once again to Gelling. He shaped to kick again then, but Tim Smith got to him. Joel Tompkins waits. Smith again. And Flower up the middle, hanging on to it this time.
And this is where George Williams again should come into the play. He really is demanding that ball. Combination, neat, chip over.
And the ball has come free all over the show. And is this going to be given? Well, the referee will hand it upstairs to the video referee.
We've got no try.
And they've got a no try there. And has Joe Burgess got a hat-trick is the question we're all asking ourselves.
Well, this is a super little dink over the top. As I said earlier, Williams and Smith, the two half-backs for Wigan, have been outstanding.
Well, they all look onside from that kick, and I think it's a knock-on they're looking for. Robert Hicks thinks he's seen a knock-on in the build-up. So far, well, I think that's off the foot so far, so we play on from this incident. I don't think there was a knock-on prior to that. And it's, well, doesn't touch his hand on the way down.
Was that a knock-on there as he made a grab for the ball, Joe Burgess?
I think he misses it.
Well, the ball's certainly travelling forward, so if it does touch his hand, you know, he can't be classed as going backwards because it still travels forward. So we're all right from there. And it's just this point down here. I think the video referees want to see whether it hits.
If he tackle without the ball, so just if the try isn't given, will that be a consideration that Joe Burgess is tackled without the ball?
Well, I think he would have to be. Richard Owen's definitely got his arms around him, which is preventing him from a clear play at the ball. Not in possession, he's being tackled. So, if there is a knock-on after that, the restart would be penalty to Wigan, I would think. So,
doesn't look like there's a knock-on.
Not at that point.
Well, it's the next one, isn't it? It's this one here.
Yeah. Seen I would think they've seen the infringement. Still concerned about it.
Well, that's missed.
Well, that's a tackle without the ball, so I think we should be fairly clear that should be a penalty. Perhaps they've already decided that there's a knock-on further on, so they're just looking for the restart.
Does he touch it? Does he get the
brush there,
feather of a touch on that?
That's the best angle for it, just here.
Which
right
takes precedent here,
Burgess.
Stuart? Is it the penalty to Wigan?
Well, they need to decide what comes first.
Well, they've decided it's no try. And they've just said it's a knock-on. They've decided it wasn't a tackle on Burgess off the ball. And they've decided that's the knock-on. And there was no need to look at the second one, which we thought was more conclusive.
Yeah, and I think where they're coming from on that one is that the knock-on took place just before the contact, and that will be why they were taking the time getting it right.
Well, I led off there, and Wakefield, they've really got to test their arm now. They're into the final quarter.
He should have been able to see that at full speed, Eddie, the referee.
Yeah.
How hard is it sometimes? Look at that. How many looks to that take? And you expect a referee to see that in play. That is tough.
It would have been his first hat-trick in Super League. He's got one in the Cup as Joe Burgess, but never before in Super League. I think we're going down to Bill, aren't we?
Eddie, Wakefield coach James Webster was saying in our interview with him before the game that he was optimistic he was going to get players back in the next few weeks. Things were looking up. Of course, he's lost Ian Kirk with a broken thumb tonight. Now, Danny Washbrook, we saw him coming off just a short time ago. It looks like a rib problem for him. Whether it's a bruised one, we don't know yet, but Washbrook's on the sidelines as well. But James Webster will be hoping that he doesn't pick up too many more bangs and bruises in this one tonight. Bangs and bruises for Wigan, though, as well. John Bateman's been off the field for a while. No sign of him coming back, and it looks as though he's got a shoulder problem.
Penalty goes Wigan's way. Just wouldn't release him, Danny Kermond, as Burgess fought to get to his feet. You know, the last thing Wakefield want is any more injuries. Just look at what they've got coming over the next 4 or 5 weeks. They're away at Saints, they're away at Hull KR, they face Lee here in the Cup, they're at home to Widnes, and then they're at home to Hull, of course, is the match that has to be played.
You asked me earlier, Eddie, what was the difference? Why did Wakefield win their opening 2 games and then go on this losing run since? Well, don't forget they had players like Collis, Payer, Anderson, Miller and Matt Ashurst as well, playing in those first 2 games of the season. All of them missing at present, who would make a big difference to the weakest squad in the competition. To have more of the players available would make them more competitive. But they're showing in this final quarter, they've not given up on this season.
No, they haven't. 14-point advantage to Wigan. You would think that might be enough. Williams floats the pass out wide. Is this Burgess' hat-trick now? Yes, it is.
What a superb pass from Williams.
And what a great finish from Burgess.
Yep, hat-trick boy.
Well, he got one in the Cup against Dewsbury last season.
Try scorer for the Wigan Warriors.
This is his first in Super League against Wakefield here at Bellevue. Joe Burgess.
Good basic play by Wigan. Channel down the middle, the 2 half-backs combine, and that is a good finish. You can see that Richard Owen, he just got pulled off the sideline, sufficient for Burgess to make it a hat-trick, but the pass from Williams, again, outstanding.
Well, he's off at the end of the season to the NRL and the Roosters, but in 2015, Manfredi's got 10 tries on one wing, and Joe Burgess now has got 10 tries on the other.
Impressive. And I know that Sean Wayne, we saw him several times when we flashed him up on the screen. He wasn't too happy with a few of the choices and the plays that Wigan were doing, but I keep saying it, if you've got the good solid forwards and you get two halfbacks like Williams and Smith in top form, they'll make your opposition pay. He's on form.
He is 6 from 6. Not all of them have been easy. This is another difficult kick for him. First miss of the night from Matty Smith.
It's almost an impossible situation for Richard Owen here. He's faced with two men in front of him, and the ball passer's got two options. But what I would suggest, we'll have a look at Burgess go through here. This is the first of his tries. I'll get back to the last try in a second. The second try going down the left-hand wing. And here we have Richard Owen faced with a difficult situation. But what I would suggest to Richard Owen is, the minute he thinks the ball passer is going to pull the trigger on that pass, go. Either go out to the winger or go on the man on your inside. He got caught in between two there, left himself no chance really of stopping that try.
It's a familiar story, this, for Wakefield. Since winning the first two games at Castleford and against Hulkinson Rovers here, they've conceded, prior to tonight, 62 tries. They've shipped in 366 points prior to tonight, at an average of 45 per game in the process. This is the 6th game in a row that they have conceded 40 or more. The problems are obvious. How to fix them up is a lot more difficult when you're running out of numbers and the confidence is low.
Yeah, too many injuries, and as you said earlier, James Webster, the coach, said, struggling to say what happens if I can't get 17 fit players out there. It's not easy when you're down at the bottom. We say time and time again, it's the teams that have got the most depth will finish up winning the competition.
They will, and Salford are going through the horrors at the moment with injuries and suspension. And Ian Watson, their assistant coach, at I think he's just a slightly bit younger than Brian, 38, 39 maybe.
Are you talking about Brian Middlehurst?
No, no, I'm talking about
our esteemed floor manager down in the tunnel.
No, I'm talking about Brian Carney. He's making a comeback into Super League perhaps at the weekend. They were looking to register him for the game against Castleford. Brian, any thoughts? Any thoughts of a return to the game?
Oh, Riley drops it.
I take it that's a no then.
Once you hang up the boots, Eddie, it's difficult to come back into it.
As Ian Watson might find out at the weekend.
Yeah.
Leeds Warrington tomorrow, Sky Sports 1, 7:30.
I'll throw it at you. Did Brad Davis make a comeback, Eddie?
Catalan Hull KR 5 to 5 Saturday, Sky Sports 3. Well,
did he make a comeback for Wakefield or for Castleford at a very, very...
He's a similar age.
Similar
age to Ian Watson right now. He probably did. I think you're right.
He was the oldest in Super League prior to Steve Menzies.
There you go. So it's possible.
Yes, there's a future for you in this game, Brian. I wonder if there's a future in Super League for Wakefield, because they're in the most awful run of results. But they have shown tonight, with this depleted outfit, with the players we've mentioned not playing, they have shown spirit. And they're up against one of the best in the business, let's be fair.
Yeah, they've acquitted themselves very, very well indeed. It's, you know, it's so difficult, especially when you're out on the field of play and you're up against a great side.
Here they come again. Oh, Hampshire's
that
pass.
was on. And he knows it. That was try number 4.
I think Burgess is blaming himself, but
he had the chance to take that.
It was a bullet pass.
Doesn't matter.
That's in slow motion, by the way.
It doesn't matter. He should have taken it.
Talk about spirit, Eddie, for Wakefield. They've shown a lot of spirit since Andy Kelly helped them to get promoted back in 1998. Many seasons since then, they've been tipped to finish at the bottom and written off. But they have found a way of fighting back, and I suppose retaining that Super League status. It does look unlikely for them. And if you watch the Formula One on Sky Sports, you often see the teams at the front are the rich and wealthy ones with all the resources. The ones at the back of the grids, the ones that are struggling. Well, Wakefield are at the back of the grid at the moment, but just don't write them off yet, because they've shown enough to me tonight to convince me there's still some fight left in this outfit.
3, John, move! Go.
Tim Smith Lays it off to Scruton. He bounces off the first challenge, gets the ball away neatly to McShane. And Matt Ryan will nowhere to go because Gelling was all over him.
Yeah, it's all about individual pride as well in this Wakefield outfit. So it looks as though there's a problem for Nick Scruton. He's picked up an arm injury.
Hold on.
Looks like it might be the wrist. Going through the wars. Oh, that's a good high kick. They're coming in numbers.
Whoa, and Burgess drops it.
Well, he's caught that beautifully, Tim Smith, the torpedo kick. That's turned absolutely the way Tim Smith would have wanted. And while it might look easy for Joe Burgess, people say, well, that's a regulation catch. He'll be disappointed he didn't catch it, but it's by no means easy. That moves quite a bit in the air. Tim Smith, one of the better executors of a kick like that.
He called for it, though. You lip read him there. My ball.
Oh, no. He put himself into position.
Is that why you won't be making a comeback, Brian?
Oh, I wouldn't catch it with a shopping trolley.
Well, I must say that Ryan Hampshire, the full-back, did his teammate no favours there. He went into no man's land. It sort of just came across his eye. Maybe that was the reason.
Chance for Wakefield to post more points. Scruton takes it forward as far as Mossop goes down in a heap. Just been treated on the run, remember, Nick Scruton. Here now is Tim Smith. Back on the inside it goes, and that's Ben Kavanagh. Plays the ball quickly to McShane. Tim Smith trying to weave a bit of magic. Long pass. Oh! It's a free play. It's a free play. They'll bring it back now. They'll bring it back now as another knock on by Burgess. Had he taken this, Joe Burgess, that would have been his fourth try, without a doubt. There was nobody ahead of him.
Well, when you've got 40 points on the board, Eddie, you can afford to be able to take a gamble like that.
That would have been an 80-metre special.
Yeah.
Well, he's still not giving it up, has he? And Lee Gilmore alongside James Webster, the coach.
Well, he wants his side to fight to the end, and they're showing a lot of guts out there.
Come on, guys, get in. George, get closer. George,
despite what Sean Wayne perhaps will say after this game, was disappointed in certain areas, I think he should be quite pleased because it's been a spirited effort from Wakefield, and I think that the balance on the Wigan's attack has been quite good. Okay, a couple of their defences has been missing at times, but attack, he should have no qualms.
Lee Mossop hands in at the play the ball. Penalty. Taken with a tap by McShane to Smith. Lays it off to Lauatiti. Chance here then for Wakefield again. Repeat set. Kavanagh again.
Good effort. Good strength there.
Just short of the line. McShane having a look both ways. Goes right again. Smith plucks it out of the air, gives it to Hall. Hall then gives it to Reece Lynn, and there's another knock on. He's not quite reading off the same script all the time, and he's getting more and more frustrated, James Webster. They have had their chances in this match to make it a much closer contest than it is at the moment.
Yeah, well, Craig Hall, you can see that he's saying, come back on the inside. And it just wasn't the best pass. He had to reach out for it, behind it. Idea was good, execution, awful.
Just 7 minutes remaining. Wigan, I think, going second in the table tonight. And I suppose, again, if you look in the history books, you might have expected this because Wigan have won 30 of 37 against Wakefield in Super League since 1999. 13 victories from 18 visits here.
And the other thing that must be pleasing for Sean Wayne is it's been a long time since they've won a game away from home.
Yes, it is.
And Wakefield, you know, James Webster and the players, they'll be able to pick something out of this, Eddie, in regards to the fact, you know, they've already scored 22 points. They might get another 6.
Yes, creditable, I said, half-time. Tautai. The moment he would want to forget on his return. McIlorum drills the ball down the centre of the field. Gets the ricochet off the post padding. Hall picks it up.
Good chase as well, good kick. Combination. That's one of the facets that Wigan have shown tonight. The kick and chase has been good, both from Williams and Matty Smith.
6 to go. 18 points the difference. Chris Riley with the ball.
Oh, there's still 5 minutes to go, but you would have to say that the Wakefield side have recovered. You know, I thought really that the biggest dip in their confidence came when they lost at Wigan a few weeks ago, 52 points to 10, I think it was. From that point on, they looked shattered, emotionally, physically, mentally. But I think they've really recovered here. Missed out with the start of their upturn. They haven't won this game, and they've made some errors that they can certainly reduce, but they've shown that they're competitive again. Tim Smith took the chip over the top, hoping for Craig Hall. Just bounces away from him into the hands of Hampshire. Got good feet.
Yes, he has got good feet, and he's beaten a couple of players with his feet then, and then it's a kick and chase from Hampshire, but the ball bobbles its way into touch. There are players stretching out with the cramp. Godinez is one of them. Danny Kermond has picked up a real bang in that last tackle that he took. It's a tough old game when you're bottom of the table, isn't it?
Certainly is, and Hampshire a little bit disappointed. Thought perhaps that might have come through. As you can see, they're big problems for quite a few of this Wakefield outfit. It hasn't been a good game for injuries for them. They picked up quite a few.
Well, we've seen some good tries tonight, Eddie, but I can't wait for tomorrow because we've got two teams in great, potentially with great players, individually brilliant players who can score good tries on their own or collectively as a team, and I think it'll be a special night there at Headingley when those two meet.
I agree. 7:30 Sky Sports 1 for Leeds and Warrington. Warrington with the results not going for them, but they were spirited last week, weren't they? They led 10-0. Eventually going down to Wigan 30 points to 20. Leeds, of course, the following night at St Helens in blistering form. Can they keep it going? You'll find out tomorrow. I think we know that Wigan are going second this evening. Riley picks it up on halfway. He goes down on tackle number 4.
Now, Sean Moyne at half-time said that they had a little bit more aggressive in their play, especially in defence, and they've done that at certain times. Good opportunity now. Riesling
had to reach for that and pick it up. And there's another Wakefield player down in back play as this movement continues to the last tackle. I think it's Danny Kermond, the skipper, who's been through the wars in the last 5 minutes or so. It's a high kick, this. It's claimed by Gelling. He gets it away to Manfredi. How about this? How about this from Manfredi? How about this from Manfredi? What a run.
Good job that Godinez was there. And I think Godinez was just having a little bit of a rest out there on that right-hand side, and he's getting up very gingerly indeed.
Tautai goes down. Second tackle for Wigan. McIlorum, here's Gelling. Gelling has backed himself and he's quick, is Gelling. The bounce, if it's good, is good. And Gelling will streak away. Oh, the hamstring's gone.
Yeah.
Off the knee of Bateman. And Bateman misses it. Oh, Gelling's hamstring has gone. And what's more, Bateman has hurt himself in stretching for that would-be try as well. There are casualties all over this field.
Yeah, 2 Wakefield players down. Bateman's got a cruncher. But the most disappointing thing is that this was brilliant play by Anthony Gelling. But watch him, he just pulls here. Oh, he knows it.
I think John Bateman's been very lucky here by the looks of things. He just avoids a very nasty collision. You know, if the Wigan fans had to vote right now for their player of the season, I think Anthony Gelling would win it. Let's hope that isn't a long-term injury for him, because he's been great so far this season for him. Really entertaining, tries things that some others don't, and boy, what a lucky break that was.
It's like a gazebo that the club have erected behind that corner of the ground. I think he's okay, but Gelling most certainly isn't. That could be 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, he's helped from the field there by a former Wigan flyer, a guy with a blue top on. Paul Johnson, you might remember, used to play for the Cherry and White stand for Great Britain very successfully. Very proud of the Wigan coaching staff.
So the victory will have come at a cost for Sean Wayne.
And you're right, Eddie, Gelling, and so still mentioned he's been in outstanding form. I always like watching him. You just don't know what to expect from this guy, and it is a shame because sometimes he can be brilliant and then he comes up with something a little bit dumb, but he's interesting and he's entertaining.
Matt Ryan goes down. Is he injured now? Is he hurt? Yes, he is. He's holding his knee. This is Lauatiti. Down he goes. McShane at dummy half. And here we go with Tim Smith. Finds Godinay. Godinay drops the ball over the top of the Wigan defence. Doesn't find touch. Good kick. Burgess picks it up, and then Kermon picks him up. Approaching the final minute of the match. Wigan have won it. They're second in the first Utility Super League table. Wakefield's agony continues at the wrong end. 4 points adrift of the rest before the start of this weekend, and all the other clubs above them have to play, of course, between now and Sunday. So they might be even further behind come the end of the weekend.
You talk about team spirit and working hard for your colleagues. You know, the kick into the corner there was a good one, and it was George Williams that got back there, and he was the man that went into the dummy half position on the first 2 tackles.
It was a great kick downfield, and it's a good chase by Wigan as well. They're keeping the pressure up right the way to the final minute of the match.
Well, they realise they want to please their coach. As Bill mentioned, none too happy, Sean Wayne, at half-time.
Richard Owen looked at the referee about 3 times then and said surely that was a bang in the face. He has another go at him as well as he plays the ball. No penalty forthcoming into the last 15 seconds. Riley gets to his feet and plays it to McShane. Here's Tim Smith.
Tried his hardest, hasn't he, Tim Smith, but come up against a very strong defence, especially in the second half.
Ryan again with the last drive and the last tackle made by McIlaurin of the match. Sean Wayne bustles away from his vantage point here at Bellevue. The Wigan support delighted. They know their team is second in the table. They have closed the gap slightly on the Leeds Rhinos at the top. But, well, the match was finally balanced, really, at half-time. 24-18 in Wigan's favour. Tries from Crosby, Smith, the first of Burgess's hat-trick, and Manfredi. Smith added all the goals. We had tries from Hall in the opening minute for Wakefield, followed by Kermond and Godinay on the stroke of half-time. 24-18 Wigan at half-time. Then they stretched away to a 30-18 win, courtesy of Burgess's second try. Riley responded, Mossop with another try, Burgess's hat-trick. 22 points Wakefield, 40 points to Wigan. A comprehensive enough victory in the end. Let's go downstairs and join Brian and John for their look back at that second half.
Thanks very much, Eddie. Yeah, comprehensive victory on the scoreboard, I suppose, in the end, but I'm sure that Sean Wayne will not be delighted. I'm sure as well that James Webster will look at his side and think, although they went and they scored 22 points against Wigan, that they could have done so much better job. Both sides were a little bit scrappy tonight, scrappier than they would hope to be in future games.
Yeah, and when you talk about the physical failings, they're very often, defensive failings, unit failings, they're very often down to mental switch-offs, little lapses in concentration that befall everybody. So I'll give you a couple of examples, because it wasn't just Wakefield who suffered from that. I think they were much improved. But when it does happen, and you have the quality of the opposition, as you do with Wigan, although having said that, they weren't great tonight, what you've got here is you've got effectively a 3v3. So Scruton, and then these two, Riesling and Sarginson, and then Owen and Burgess,
with defensive support coming from Danny Washbrook on the inside. Yeah.
So I question this movement. It just needs to relax a little bit, and to come in like that. I know Farrell's, he sees him on his inside eye and out of his peripheral vision, but not a great decision.
Okay, Wakefield are guilty of a defensive lapse on that occasion. They're bottom of the table, you may forgive them. Wigan, the other end of the table, well, they're in an offensive lapse on this occasion.
And this is why Sean Wayne will be very upset with what's gone on, because I think they were playing far too fast and loose throughout this game, and I've got another example at the end to show you. There's no reason at all here. I think it's a lack of respect for the opposition as well, personally, and I think Wakefield commanded enough respect in defeat that shouldn't be happening. You know, and I think Riley was well. They deserved the result they got, did Wigan, from that, and that was a try against them.
44 points they scored in the end. 3 Joe Burgess tries. Have a look at the last of his tries, but before that, some good defensive effort from the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, because good defence at times in this game kept them in the match.
Yeah, Craig Hall had a bits and pieces first half. I thought this contribution, although it only delayed the inevitable, Mossop's try came soon after. A couple of things we'll pick out of this. I thought this goes down as a try saver for Craig Hall. What about Manfredi, though? I'm a big fan of his. So Sean Wayne gets himself in the hole. If we're going to be ultra picky here at this point, Brian, he's got to start committing the fullback and starting to at least make him sit on his left-hand foot. How many times have we said that? And that frees up the path there for Hampshire in the middle. He doesn't do that, and he actually gives the opportunity to Craig Hall, who backs off to the last minute and then makes himself huge and makes a great try-saving tackle. That was smart, but not as smart as this for me. And again, we spoke about George Williams right at the start of the game. He hasn't exactly burst onto the scene as a 6, but I think, again, more evidence here that he's a natural ball player. He's somebody who plays what he sees in front of him, and he's got the ability to execute as well. He sees Richard Owen in looking at Dan Sargentson, and it's a superb ball. That combination between 6 going to the left-hand edge and Burgess is a fantastic one.
Okay, well, we can hear from that very man now, George Williams. He's the man of the match, and he is downstairs with Bill.
George, congratulations on the man of the match performance. I mean, scoreboard looks pretty comfortable. You were never really comfortable in that game, though, were you?
Not at all, no. We didn't turn up today, and we got a roasting at half-time, but we ground out a win, and that's what good teams do.
What do you think the problem was? Was it not fully at the game or something like that?
We spoke all week about being prepared, and our first set was awful and they scored, so we've got to be better than that, but like we said, we ground out a win and we're happy to win.
Well, that's it. You've got the sometimes.
Yeah, we're chuffed with a win here, but like we said, we've got a lot to improve on.
Well done tonight on the man of the match performance. You put 1 or 2 on the plate for Joe Burgess. Joe, congratulations on your first Super League hat-trick. That seems incredible. That is your first hat-trick in Super League.
Yeah, it was something I was looking towards to me, and Don Manfred has been shoving me. He's been getting some, but yeah, I'm happy to get one. I was a bit disappointed with them drop balls, but yeah, I'm happy to get the hat-trick. Is there a bit of rivalry between you and Dom? As you say, he's been going great guns. Not rivalry. We help each other out more than anything, but yeah, it does shove me now and again. I think you're up to 12 for the season now. You got 25 last season. Do you set yourself a target? Yeah, especially being a winger, it is an aim to improve on the year before. Well done tonight, Joe. Thank you. Well, let's hear from the Wildcats captain Danny Kermond, who joins us. And Danny, thanks for talking to us. I mean, we're hearing from you in the middle of the week about, you know, how you needed to pick yourself up after what happened at Warrington. Okay, you got the win over Halifax, but you needed to do yourselves justice here tonight. I think you did that.
Yeah, it's been a tough few weeks for us. Obviously, the Warrington defeat is probably the lowest point of the season so far. But we've talked about just making gradual improvements, and you know, the win against Halifax gave a bit of confidence. And then today, you know, disappointing to concede a few in the second half, but a much better performance from us. Well, if you think what might have been at times in that game, you kept pegging back Wigan. They never really got away from you. Yeah, it's the things we've talked about again. You know, turning the ball over too easy, and we just did that a little bit too much today. We kept giving ourselves a chance, which shows that we're a good attacking threat. You know, Wigan are a really good defensive team, and we've scored some decent tries against them tonight. So, again, you know, on to next week, and we'll keep improving. Thanks, Danny. No worries. Thank you. Cheers.
Well, Danny Kermond described it as a much better performance, and that it certainly was, considering last time out in Super League they were beaten 80 points to 0. Wigan Warriors clapping their fans that have travelled over across the M62. I wonder, though, what their coach Sean Wayne will make of a performance that George Williams described as one that left us with an awful lot to work on.
Well, mark this day down well, Wigan supporters. St George's Day 2015, the 23rd of April. You have won away from home for the first time since the 12th of July 2014, when you won in Catalan Dragons' home territory of Perpignan. You've beaten Wakefield here by 40 points to 22 at Bellevue. We're going to hear from the two coaches now, beginning with Sean Wayne.
Sean, I think you're probably going to be a bit cautious about what you tell us, but it's fair to say you'll be giving the players the benefit of your mind after this interview. Oh yeah, we weren't at our best today, Bill. I will fake it a bit talking to you. We're a lot better than what we put up today, and our defence wasn't there in the first half. But you know, we showed a lot of character in staying in there, but it wasn't an acceptable performance for me. That is it. Conceding the points that's most troubling for you? Oh yeah, I knew we could score, but our D wasn't on, and there were simple plays they got us with, and it's just not acceptable. I won't have it. Switching off. Yeah, you know, it's a tough place to come, and
you know, the crowd around the referee, and who I thought referee did great today. You know, so it's not an easy place to come up in here as a player. So you need to be mentally strong to come here, and in patches today we weren't mentally strong. So we ended up getting the win, and I commend the players for that, getting the 2 points and away in Yorkshire. So I'm happy with that.
Always happy to get a win in Yorkshire, Wigan.
Yeah, exactly. We don't get that many. So we've got 2 points, and I'm happy with that.
Thanks, Sean.
Cheers, Bill. Thank you.
Cheers. Let's hear from the Wildcats coach, James Webster. And James, you got the win against Halifax, but I think the one that you really wanted to make up for was the performance against Warrington. And do you think you maybe went some way to doing that tonight?
Oh, I think every week we're trying to improve. Last week we made some small steps, and we made some small ones again today. So we're on the up, and you know the situation is what it is at the moment at Wakefield, and we understand that. We look forward to keep trying to improve, and next week we get a chance again. We're still enjoying playing, and if we could have held on to the ball at certain times tonight, we might have been a bit more of a chance.
But there are positives you can take from this performance.
Oh, 100%. You know, we've got a lot of boys who haven't played a lot of footy there for a while. We had an 18-year-old kid playing, you know, in starting there, and a 21, 22-year-old kid playing in the front row. So, you know, we've got plenty of positives coming out of Wakefield at the moment. We just need to dig deep, and we'll keep fighting. We'll keep fighting, and I'm looking forward to next week's game against Saints.
Doesn't get any easier, does it?
No, but you want to be part of it, don't you? You want to be part of Super League. You want to test yourself against them, and those boys in there, while they'll hurt tonight, they'll turn up on Monday, and we'll look forward to trying to, you know, compete hard against St Helens next week.
Just a final word, Ian Kirk, broken thumb, just when you thought you were getting people back.
Yeah, you know, it's rugby league. It's rugby league. We got outplayed tonight by a better team, and congratulations to Sean and his team. You know, we've got a few injuries concerns, but you know that's life. And as I said, we'll prepare hard as we can next week.
Well done, James.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, John. Thanks, guys.
Yes, they'll prepare hard for next week. It is St Helens that they face. They're bottom of the table and 4 points off Hull FC. Of course, everybody above them there, Hull, Catalan, Widnes, Hull KR, Castleford, etc., they all still have to play this weekend. So it doesn't get any easier for Wakefield, but they do have a bit of character building going on, and James Webster staying positive. Wigan up to second, though, 5 points behind the Leeds Rhinos now. So what's to come over this weekend? Let's just remind you, there are 3 tomorrow. Hull against Huddersfield. The big match that we'll be featuring, Leeds against Warrington, and Saints will take on Widnes. They're the Friday matches. On Saturday, our cameras will be in Perpignan for the Catalan Dragons against Hull Kingston Rovers, and on Sunday, round 12 is completed by Salford against Castleford at the A.J. Bell Stadium. So a victory for Wigan and a defeat at some cost by the sound of things for Wakefield, with the likes of Ian Kirk, one of the recent acquisitions, going off near the end with a broken thumb. Phil Clark is here with me. The two coaches, Phil, have talked about character, have talked about keeping things going, staying positive. Wigan can be positive because they're second in the table and chasing hard. It's a bit more difficult for Wakefield to stay positive, but they have to.
I think in the circumstances, that was almost a moral victory, really. When you consider the points difference, when you look at that league table, to lose to Wigan so closely, really, is a result in itself, isn't it, after what's happened recently. The second half itself, 16 points to 4. You know, they give themselves a bit of hope, didn't they? And show that they can attack with some of the players. Scoring in the first minute was a great start for them, and I suppose when they look back at this game again, they'll be so frustrated because at times it was their own errors and weaknesses perhaps in defence that allowed Wigan to win this match, because they weren't that far from it. Wigan split them with a lot of these players, didn't they? They have a lot of players around the ball, and that is hard to defend, as was evidenced in that particular try. When they strike, Wigan like to strike from deep if possible. They're not afraid to offload the ball, and the decision-making from some of the Wakefield players out wide, not good enough really to narrow the gap in this game. Maybe Wigan would have always won, but they could have certainly narrowed the gap.
Well, they certainly gave them a real fright in the first half, didn't they? You know, the way they came back, and they only turned round 6 points adrift, Wakefield. We thought, is the impossible possible?
There were certainly examples of it, weren't there? You know, when Wigan attack like this, though, moving the ball, they do throw more passes than a lot of teams, and they're enjoying success out wide with some of the players they're coming up with. Wakefield scored. When he went over Peter Godinard just before half-time, he thought, wow, we've maybe got a game on. But the real killer blow was for them to concede so soon in the second half. I think, if anything, that sapped the spirit, really, that Wakefield may have had for some sort of revival. And yet, they were competitive in that second half. I do have to admire, they stuck with this game. OK, they had an uncharacteristic error there from Tamalima Tautai to offload the ball so close to his own line, and Chris Riley was a happy recipient. But not often enough were Wakefield able to hold out this Wigan side. And you know, I suppose when you look at that, the breaks, meters and the tackle success of the two teams, it underlines really the gap between the two sides. Wigan said that the defence wasn't good enough, and yet they missed far fewer tackles than the Wildcats. And clearly Wigan made far more ground than them. The 12 breaks just goes to show how great form Wigan's backs are in at the moment.
Absolutely. When you look at that league table and you see the gap between Wakefield, that at the moment is 4 points between them and the rest, it might get bigger over the weekend. Have they any chance of escaping the bottom four?
Well, I think they need to cut out some of the mistakes that they made in this game. And I'm not talking about handling mistakes. Lots of teams drop the ball. But in terms of the discipline, they conceded penalties late in the tackle count early in the game when the score was pretty close, on the halfway line. And that gave Wigan very often the opportunity to attack. Sometimes the discipline of Tim Smith in some of the play, I thought, I know Wigan targeted him. They ran at him on numerous occasions to try and pick him out in the line. And he lost his frustration, didn't he? And we saw an incident then where he got involved with a fracas with Sam Powell and was sent over to the sin bin. So I think at times some of the mistakes and the pressure they put themselves under was their own downfall. I think that they can be far closer and more competitive if they can narrow some of those mistakes and reduce some of those errors.
Yeah, it's easy to say, it's difficult to fix up. But you made mention during the commentary, you had a list of players who have still really got to get their season going for Wakefield. Once they get some bodies back, they will be competitive. And if James Webster is looking ahead now to the last 7 fixtures of the season where they have to scrap for their lives against championship clubs, you would fancy them. You would fancy them with some of those players back, the likes of Collis and Payer.
I would certainly, yeah. I think they've got some good players and they've shown they can attack. It depends on their rate of improvement in the defence, doesn't it? I think that's the test really for James Webster. They haven't got a problem in scoring tries. They'll get enough points to be competitive in games, but they need to improve and reduce the points conceded by at least 10 a match.
And of course, Wigan, well, they march on. They're second in the table. We'll see just how things go for them at Leeds tomorrow. I'll tell you about that in a second. Coming up tonight next here on Sky Sports 3, the 2003 Grand Final. You can relive that on Super League Gold. And just look what's coming for you tomorrow. Leeds against Warrington. This should be a cracking game. 7:30, Sky Sports 1 for that, live from Headingley. And on Saturday, we're in Perpignan with the Catalan Dragons. Catalan against Hull Kingston Rovers at 4:55 on Sky Sports 3. Well, when you think about it, you know, Wakefield, the last time they played in Super League, they conceded 80 points to the Warrington Wolves. So Phil is probably right. A moral victory for them tonight. They've kept Wigan within cooey, as they say, but not quite good enough. They'll battle on, though, and we'll see you tomorrow at Headingley. Bye-bye.